Hello and welcome to another episode of Diplo Strats. I'm CaptainMeme. I'm here once again with Ezio. Hi Ezio.
Hello, hello.
And you may notice you are seeing a little less map than you would usually see on the screen. Do not worry, this is not the entire diplomacy map we'll be focusing on today. This
That would be
is...
some variant.
That would be quite the variant. This is the Discovery of Icos, which was a Fog of War / exploration variant that I played. So usually Fog of War Online means that you can see the entire map, you know, the shape of the entire map, but you can't see what's in the individual provinces. Here they took it to the extreme. Here they went, no, you cannot see anything on the map except what you've already seen, right? So that's why we're only seeing a tiny portion of the map right now, specifically what's around my supply centers.
For confirmation to the viewers, we have not played this variant before. Neither one of us... I'm not in this game. This is just Captain Meme. But nobody knows what the map looks like or anything about it. For all we know, this could just be Captain Meme in this game, and then it's just going to be him walking around seeing stuff, for all we know. There are other people in the game, though, like, that were talked about it and are on the Discord, so we assume there's other people. But do you know how many people there are, Captain Meme?
I did not know that going in. No, nope. And I didn't know who else was in the Discord, even. They specifically hid the usual channels that you would see, and so you couldn't actually, like, view the member list or anything like that. If you looked at the member list, you'd only see the people who are in your specific channel, which is you and the mods, right?
Right, so they made everything super secret.
Yeah.
So no one knows anything. So this is very much like, how are you approaching this very weird problem? So it's really cool.
Yeah, a couple things to note here. So these icons might confuse you. I know it confused Ezio at first, because usually on a diplomacy map you see fleets as triangles and armies as circles. In this one, for some reason, they decided to go with fleets as circles and armies as squares. So keep that in mind as you look through this. I think Ezio had figured this out once he took a closer look at it, because there's no world in which you would start with two armies here and a fleet here. Like, that would be so cruel on the mod's part.
It would be funny, though.
It would be very funny. The way that the Fog of War works, of course, is that you can see everything adjacent to the provinces that you're in, but specifically for armies, you can only see land provinces adjacent, and for fleets, you can only see coastal provinces that it's connected to and the sea provinces adjacent. So, for example, if I didn't have this army in WTGR, I would not see WTBI, because that's inland from the fleet, so the fleet doesn't see it. It's not able to see that specific province. And likewise, if I didn't have the fleet here in WTRE, I would not be able to see WSMC, because this is an army, so it doesn't see out into the ocean.
Other questions about Fog of War, Captain Meme. Do supply centers have any inherent vision?
That's a great question, because quite often in Fog of War they do. In this variant, they do not.
Second question, does territory control have any vision? I would also assume not, based on the supply center, but good to ask, because...
No, so this is actually a super interesting point, because specifically in the winter phases, we would get a message saying, because you might not necessarily be able to see all of your supply centers at a given time, we're giving you your supply center count. So you can't even tell what supply centers you control if you don't have vision of those supply centers, right?
Your supply center might have been taken. You try to put a build order, and you're like, oh, I guess I didn't build.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. It's hilarious.
Jeez. That's tough.
It means it's quite important to keep units around, even where you might not necessarily want them, right? Just to be able to keep vision on stuff at some point.
Yeah, in addition to defense, to actually, like, see things. Wow, that's so cool.
It is. It's a really cool variant. There are a couple more twists to this variant as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and say, going into this, I came into this thinking, this is kind of an incredible concept, right? Being able to explore a map like this. I'd heard of some variants that had done stuff like this before, But they tended to be in the postal era of diplomacy, right? Where someone is drawing a map and then sending it out to people. I hadn't actually seen one of this type run anytime recently. So I was just thrilled to be able to get into it. And with that in mind, I was kind of coming in like, I'm just here for the experience. I am going to go for the win, obviously, but I'm not expecting it to be perfectly balanced. There's clearly a variant that they're making a one-time thing. And I think that was the correct attitude to go into this variant in, because there were some complaints about the balance through this. And one of those things was to do with special abilities. So every power in this game has a special ability, or multiple special abilities in some cases, and every power in this game has an individual win condition. So you go in only knowing your own ones. In fact, I think in the first year you don't even know your own win condition. You find that out at the end of the first year. But in order to find out win conditions and powers of other people, you have to dislodge one of their units, or have one of your units and one of their units hold adjacent to one another. So those are the two ways you can find out other people's abilities. That's going to be super important as we go forward. So going into the game, I find out my ability, which is, it's kind of a cool one. When I discover a new continent, and I was not informed of what continent means in this case, my unit will place down a trading post on the nearest sea tile. And a trading post is just a supply center, a neutral supply center, that I always have vision of, even if I don't control it. So I'm curious where you'd... obviously we've got no point of reference for how powerful that is compared to the other players right now. I'm curious whether that's an ability you would want, Ezio, going into something like this.
No. In general, I would say yes. I think increasing the density of supply centers is something that sounds pretty sweet. It's unfortunate that I don't have that much control over where it gets placed, since obviously I don't know where the continents are. I can't really plan this out. And so it's there's randomly going to be some supply centers, but maybe I'll get a supply center or two out of the deal. And that's a nice thing to have. I am probably going to be the one in control of the supply center at the start. So that's good. But, I'm worried because it doesn't, increase our fighting capacity. And I feel like there might be some that would increase fighting capacity. And so if I just make land more wealthy, but I can't actually fight for it, then other people who are good at fighting will just take it. And so, yeah. So that's, my inherent concern about this. But, hey, who knows, right? Maybe yeah.
I'd say that's a very good thought. Very good thought indeed. All right.
Okay, yeah. I'm sure that's a good sign for us.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's go ahead and move to the first moves then. Actually, I'm curious, where would you prioritize going to in this situation? We know that we're at the top of the map, right? Because there's nothing above here. So maybe the most interesting question is, do you just go into the supply center in turn 1, or do you try and discover a little bit more? Because clearly you'll see more.
I would go to WNJO.
This one.
Yeah, because that will let me see more tiles. I could see going in, maybe not, maybe just walk into the SC, see what's adjacent to the SC. Actually, I'd probably do that. I want to be in the supply center, because, I might move into the supply center. Do I see any hostile armies immediately? Right, that would obviously be triggering. And I would plan on moving my fleet, my southern fleet, from WTEQ into WSBE. And so, there's probably only one province, just based on, the size thing, that borders WTKL and WNJO. And so, that might be a supply center that I could take, right? There's, that one gap there, right, that I would expect to be one territory, so this one would see it. And then with my other fleet, I would flip a coin. I don't... There's an argument for WSMC, because that's adjacent to, there's probably that one land that is adjacent to both of these fleet provinces. And so it's nice to have your units bordering so they can support as needed. But also, WSMC is a much bigger province, and if we're trying to discover continents, go from big place to big place.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's all good thoughts there. I completely forgot to mention this when I was talking about my abilities at the start. The one I mentioned was my specific ability. I also had one that was just given as an extra ability, which was called Navigation, which said I'm allowed to pass through deep sea tiles. And it also said anyone I meet will gain this ability after, I think it was 3 years. So that's just something to bear in mind. I have no idea what a deep sea tile is right now. I haven't seen any. So, yeah, we'll see as we go. Another thing to just note with this map is that Ezio said there's land over here, right? And that's very clear on this because the sea provinces always have straight borders between one another. You can see them here, you can see it here. Obviously, we don't have absolute confirmation of that right now because we can only see 3 sea provinces, but it is always going to be true. So if you see anything with a sort of jaggedy border like this, that is definitely a land tile. Alright, let's go through some moves, and then we can go forward. So I did basically...
exactly what I was saying, yeah.
Yeah. And my main thought with this one was just, if someone else spawns in here, I really don't want them getting into that supply center, right? That would be pretty devastating, having someone immediately adjacent to this. So, yeah, as we move forward to the next turn, we have a few things that happen here. The map is going to be a bit JPEG-y, but yes.
Wow.
Okay, so...
Yeah.
First things first, this is my trading post. It gets placed down in ASFR. I am mentioned to have discovered Aqualia, which is another continent, right? And so this has gone into an Aqualia sea province.
And WSNC is not Aqualia?
Yes. So here's an interesting thing about the naming scheme, which... We will note as we go along. You will note that these territories here begin with an A. These territories here begin with a W. This is Waferia. I was listed in my lore to have begun the game in Waferia, which I probably should have told you because you would have figured this out quicker if I had. Right? And I've just discovered Aqualia, which begins with an A. So the first letter of the territory represents what continent it's in. We figured this out quite quickly because, obviously, especially with my ability, it's quite easy to figure out once they tell you have discovered X continent. Right.
Yeah.
The more important things that happen on the first turn here is meeting people. So if you see someone else's unit, then you have the option to open dialogue with them. If they see your unit as well, then you automatically open dialogue with them. Right? But
sure.
if you see them and they don't see you...
you don't have to say anything.
You don't have to open dialogue. You can
That's very funny.
keep entirely silent and the mods won't even create the press channel, right? They won't inform that person that you exist.
Yeah, you have a boat, you see their supply center. I'm just going to hope that they walk out. They don't know that I'm here.
Exactly. Yeah. But in this case, it's mutual everywhere, right? This player has seen my army, I've seen their army, this player has seen my fleet, I've seen their fleet. So, this blue player is Bosfer. They come to me and say, hi, I'm from... a bunch of different continents. They basically say, hey, I'm a colonial, I spawned in like 3 different continents, and I have 3 disjointed maps that I have no idea how they fit together at all. Right? I'm just seeing 3 unique supply centers and my units are in the middle of nowhere. So that's a fun, like, starting thing. Right?
Good to know. At least yours were contiguous, jeez. Or not quite, but almost.
Yep. This player up here is a player that you may know from previous Diplostrats commentaries if you've watched some of our stuff before. It's a player called Salt.
Oh, purely random, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You just happen to be neighboring Salt.
Okay, so here's the thing. The mods of this game, I should actually name them. Firebender, Sarfed, and Oliu, I think, were the 3 people who ran this game. insisted to me that they assign powers entirely randomly. I don't believe them. Myself and Salt have a bit of a history of being at odds. Let's just put it that way. And stabbing each other constantly.
Right? Is this the worst possible turn one?
It very possibly is.
At least you moved into the center first, man. If you'd moved into W and JO, you wouldn't have seen each other. Oh, you would have bounced. Oh, that would have been so funny.
Yeah. Well, at this point, I'm meeting Salt, and I open negotiations with Salt, and I mean, I have good rapport with Salt generally. We do tend to stab each other a lot, but we are both quite good diplomacy players, right? So we're able to establish that friendship and go, okay, this time we're not going to stab each other, right? This time...
Yep. I believe that.
This time we can actually work together.
Absolutely, of course.
God.
So, okay, in the audience, how long do you think this lasts? Make your comments right now. How many years? Let's say this is 1901. In what year will they start fighting? Post in the comments. All right, CaptainMeme.
All right. So I have gone ahead and made friends with all my neighbors at this point, right? I have gone to Salt and I've said, we can be friends. We don't even know our win conditions yet, right? Maybe we can collaborate. Maybe we both win together. That's a possibility. I've talked to Bosper. I can't remember what we agree on WNGH. I think we'll see in the next turn, right? I am definitely... Well, so I'm not guaranteed 2 dots. There might be someone on the other side of one of these. In which case, my ability to put an SC down there would have really backfired, right? It looks like a dot that can be gotten into from a lot of angles.
Yep.
But I'm guaranteed this dot at least, and I want to make friends, so I'm fairly sure we agree to just let him have this one, and I go off exploring.
He's a colonial. You can't let him have the dot.
Well, that's exactly the thing. If he's a colonial with 3 completely randomly distributed units, he's not going to be particularly strong in any given area, right? So I can quite easily knock him back out if I need to.
Yeah, but, I mean, who's to say he's telling the truth? They're telling the truth.
Yeah, it is a he. I think this is Wistlov, who is another Imperial diplomacy player as well. I think most of the players in this game were recruited from Imperial diplomacy games.
Yeah, they weren't paying you any money.
Indeed, they were just paying me in dots, which I like.
Yeah, and an exposure.
Yes, absolutely. And honestly, just in the ability to play an awesome variant, to be honest.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, the other thing that you may have noticed here, this wasn't explicitly stated, but I just assumed this must be the deep sea zone that they were talking about in my ability, right?
Yeah.
That I am able to navigate and other people maybe are not.
Until they've seen you for 3 years.
Yes.
That's such a weird mechanic, because instinctively, I would want to move into that province, that deep sea province at some point, right? We want to take a dot this fall. But then, I would kind of want to move into that dot. But looking at the geography of the map, right, that deep sea province is pretty effective as a barrier. Because if the enemies can't move in there, then they can't really shuffle fleets through DHWI. They just can't get fleets from around there. And if it's deep sea, there's presumably more sea tiles to the west. And so, I would want to take ASFR and get out as quickly as possible. Because once they discover me, that's when they have the timer when they can start attacking me, and as long as they can't move through there, they can't do anything.
Right, so specifically you want to make sure that they can't learn navigation off me early, so I need to not meet them, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I could see that. That wasn't really my primary thought at this point. I'm just I want to discover as much as possible in this direction, because it looks like, there's at least 2 dots here I can see straight up, right? There's definitely more stuff around this area as well. If I've got this sort of good launching point for new fleets, I feel like I can contest this really well if I just go this way. That's my instinct off the bat. Obviously, if I end up at war with Salt, that might create some problems on that front because I'm going to need more armies. But
yeah, but what are the odds to go to war with Salt? I mean, come on.
Yeah, but honestly, if Salt pushes me back and I end up on, like, WTGR and WTKL, what's Salt going to do from that point? I can just stick, like, a fleet here and a fleet here and have a couple of units here, and then he just can't advance past that point. This peninsula is really nice, defensively from the land.
Sure.
So, yeah. My thoughts at this point is I want to prioritize being a fleet nation. We'll see how that goes as we go along, right?
It's a shame you have Salt as a land neighbor.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot easier if it was someone other than Salt, I think.
Honestly, I'm like, in this early stage, I'm feeling really good about having Salt as a neighbor, because we had this really good conversation early on. Obviously, my first reaction to seeing that it was Salt was, oh my god, why? But then we had this really good conversation of, this'll be the game, right? We have to have one eventually, right? Where we work together. And so we were planning all of this, like, yeah, let's push out together. And I know about this colonial down here. Maybe that's a person we can potentially work together against.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Still,
Right.
guys, put your bets in the comment.
Okay, so you can see some of the moves here. Notably, by the way, the official way that they did these, it varies a little bit depending on how, like, cautious they were being with the maps, because obviously they're having to generate a bunch of different maps every turn, right? For different people, and they might miss some things. But generally speaking, if someone issues an order from a province you can't see, so say from here and orders a move into ASFR, it wouldn't appear on my map because I can't see the unit doing the move. It would just say that this unit has failed to move. In this case, I believe I get in anyway.
Yeah.
This was an arranged bounce on this turn, I'm fairly sure, and then we were like, we can sort this out afterwards.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, and you can see I let Salt into the dot. I'm like, I'm gonna be a nice neighbor.
How great. How benevolent of you.
I know, right?
And then what, you agree to build 2 fleets?
I mean, I don't agree on specific builds. Like, one thing about this game is quite often, like, I have actually played one game that tried to do this kind of map thing before, but it got cancelled after the first year, and that was specifically because
so much work.
Yeah, it was specifically because everyone was just drawing their maps and sending them to other people, and so people just put together the map immediately, like the entire map, and then circulated that around everyone, which doesn't really work for a Fog of War game, right? I was like, there was no specific rule against doing something like that, but I was just like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna keep my information close to my chest. And I think a lot of the other players were doing the same thing, because, like, Wislov over in Bospur, right, he told me that he was in 3 different locations. He wasn't particularly specific about what those things were, and he didn't tell me his ability off the bat, right? Salt here, he's basically mentioned, I'm on the other side of this continent, right? And I think at this point he mentions that he thinks he's in the corner, which is not a good sign for me. But we'll see how that goes.
Salt in the corner? Oh no, on the same continent as you?
But he also mentions that there's like sea provinces going down here, but he's not specific about what type of sea provinces, right? Or where those sea provinces are going. He just, like, there are sea provinces going south that he can potentially go down. And I think that made the game, it's maybe not, like, strategically good to keep that much information back. I think if you have the opportunity to trade all your information for all of someone else's, that's oftentimes quite a good trade to make, because you can build up the map and try and... if you do that with multiple people, right, you're just swapping one piece of information for everyone's individually.
Yeah, but the thing that I want to be careful about in these types of variations is once I have someone else's information, I can sell that instead of my own. So, like, let's say I trade this with you, right, CaptainMeme, and then I know CaptainMeme's stuff. I can then go to, like, the southern neighbor and say, hey, I don't want to tell you what I know, but I'll tell you everything that CaptainMeme told me in exchange for you giving me information about one of your other neighbors. And then you can trade that instead, and then you're not the one selling your information anymore. Other people are selling it.
Yep.
And so, yeah.
All right. Yeah, I mean that's a very good way of doing it generally. But in this game, I was just like, I really want this idea to work as well, so I'm just gonna try and hold things back to make the gameplay a bit more interesting as well.
Sure.
Because I really don't want that thing to happen of everyone sees the entire map instantly. And a lot of
Yeah.
other people were playing in the same sort of way. Right?
Yeah, exploring's fun.
Yep. So here, a few things. I get into ASFR, which is really nice. Obviously, I've got my my trading post dot, and it's adjacent to two other supply centers, and there's no one else adjacent to a NOP. Right?
Yeah, this is amazing. This is such a strong power center.
That just looks incredible to me. Just like, wow. Okay.
Yeah, we're boats, baby.
Yeah, and like looking at this from here, I don't even want to go back and take ANOP with this unit, right? I want to go straight to AMPR with it because that's I can lock ANOP with a new fleet coming in from this direction, and explore a bit more and get another dot, hopefully guaranteed. It depends whether there's anyone in this area.
That's so good. Is there coring in this variant?
No, there is not. Or at least...
Wow. Okay. Not that you know of. Yeah, you don't have
Yeah.
coring. Other people might, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah, other people might be able to build in multiple locations, but there's no specific coring mechanic. I can only build in my home supply centers. I assume you were gonna say you want to core this province right here, right? Yeah.
I mean, at some point, but like, point is just, it was an important question because that thought that you created, it might be your core, right? That would be a very interesting way for you to get some more colonial aspirations, but nope, guess not. Perfectly cool.
Yep. Alright. And of course, I have navigation, so I'm also, like, one of the few people who can access this province, which is incredible.
Yeah, right, which makes defense super useful.
Yeah. And I say one of the few people because I did discuss abilities with other powers. We weren't outright training our specific abilities, but I did mention that I have two abilities, and one of them is about moving a fleet. And Bosper goes, "Oh, you've got navigation as well." And I'm like, "Oh, I thought I was special." All right, fine.
Nah.
And so I go to Salt and go, "Hey, you know, I've got an ability called Navigation because I was kind of hoping to play it that was my ability, and see if I could trade it for his ability." And he just goes, "I've got Navigation as well."
Very funny.
And then lists back to me what that ability does, even though I just named it to him. So I know for sure that these two powers both have Navigation. Just like, alright, well, I guess that one's not so special. But we've still got our second ability, right, of putting down trading posts, so we're a little bit special. Now, after the first year is gone, we learn our secret objective. So what we need to do in order to win this game. I'm wondering whether I can set this up with it. Like, Ezio, is there any specific secret objective you would want from a position like this?
Own 3 supply centers that aren't your starting supply centers and are on a coast.
I mean, yeah, that would be absolutely incredible.
I have no idea. Right, because it's like the scale of these things is crazy. I have no idea how easy or how hard we want them to be. I would assume they would have it set up such that you can't accomplish it in year 2, but hey, I don't know.
Yeah, it would be a lot of work to make a variant for something that ends in year 2, right?
Yes.
So, I get my ability, and my ability says, well, first there's a bit of lore text, and it says, we're basically a human power, we're a trading nation, we've lived on Wafaria for a long time, but we have aspirations of being a naval power. We sent out 3 fleets 5 years back, and they never came back. So we don't know what's happened to them. Now, the win condition for us is own 14 supply centers on Wafaria, which I was like, oh.
Uh-huh.
Okay, well,
yeah.
that's not a good start.
Okay, yeah.
owns 6 supply centers on either Aqualia or Icos. Now that one I'm looking at, and I'm going...
Are these... This is an and?
Yes, this is an and.
Okay, 14 on our starting continent.
Sorry, no, it's not 14, it's 12. But it
12,
is...
okay, 12 on our starting continent, and 6 on this other continent.
6 on either Aqualia or Icos.
But it's not 6 between the two. It's on one of these other 2 continents. We need to have 6.
Yes, exactly.
Or
instead of that second condition of having 6 on one of those other 2 continents, have Eshil control 12 in either Aqualia or Icos.
Who is Eshil?
Good question. They did not tell me that.
But the point is, we need to beat Salt.
Yep.
That's the problem. Is we are going to war with Salt. Hell yes. All right, guys. For those of you who took 1902, I'm feeling pretty good about it.
I mean,
I'm feeling some army builds.
We don't know how big Wafaria is at this point, right? It might be huge. It might be that all of these extra islands or whatever are parts of Wafaria as well. And I was hoping so.
Be. It might be. But also, you happen to start with one adjacent from Salt, right? He's got a starting supply center that's adjacent to WNLP. So I was just saying, if we are having 12 supply centers on this continent, we currently have 4, and we see 2 more, and that's it. I'm building 2 armies, and I'm going after Salt. That's what I'm doing. All right.
I don't go with that. I go with a fleet and an
army. Wow, you really want to get these 3 dots in the ocean? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the 3 dots in the ocean look so good, though. My theory is, if I can establish control over this area, right, then I can come back with a force that can beat this no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was also kind of hoping maybe Salt has a win condition that doesn't require him to own a bunch of supply centers on Wafaria, right?
Yeah, you hope his isn't also own 12 centers on Wafaria. Yep.
Yep. Well, this is where I make a rather interesting decision, let's put it that way. So there are 2 ways of discovering someone else's win condition, right? For sure. Obviously, you can go ahead and tell each other, but you have no guarantee that the other person is telling the truth. So one of those is to dislodge one of their units. Obviously, I'm not in a position to be able to dislodge anyone's unit right now. I could be if I move this up an attack, but that does feel like it would be a little telegraphed.
Yeah.
The other potential way you can do it is have both of you hold a unit adjacent to each other. So if I order a hold order for WNHP and Salt orders a hold order for WNHL, then you both learn one another's objectives and you learn one another's abilities.
Yeah, but you don't want him to know your objective.
You say that, and yes, you'd probably be right.
Yeah, but if Salt knows that I have to take these centers from him, he is 100% attacking me. So I am 100% lying to Salt about my objective, and I am definitely moving that unit.
See, this is the big difference between you and I, because I'm a friendly person, so I think, maybe there's some chance that we can work this all out after all if he has an ability.
How friendly I am. I need to own his dots to win. they are his requirement. Diplomacy is a great game, and I love it in the base game because of how flexible it is, right? And in ImpDip, it's even more flexible. You have so many options of where to expand what to do. You've got huge flexibility. When they say, hey, sorry, buddy, you gotta have, 12 dots, I feel like that removes my flexibility, and I am in a 1 versus 1 with other people on the board, and, yikes.
Yeah.
You want to hold. You want to share Salt's information. And then once both of you hear that both of you have to own Wisteria, then you realize, uh-oh.
Yeah, that might be the case. My theory is, in diplomacy, you eventually have to attack other people if you want to go for a win, right? Even if you've been working with them all game long. So maybe I can, even if we have conflicting objectives, we can work together and figure things out in the early game, and then, attack each other later on. That feels like a reasonable way to do it, right?
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah. So we go ahead and do that, and hold next to one another. I will go ahead and reveal the next map, because I don't think there's any major changes, apart from, Salt has another army here all of a sudden, which is not good.
Ah, interesting. Man, who could have expected it?
But no,
All right.
that Salt did hold, so he also deliberately gave me his own objective, right? To see if we could...
and what is his objective for the audience?
So his objective is own 14 supply centers in Warfaria. And have 20 governor's influence built up, which becomes apparent.
What does that mean?
What
Whatever,
that means.
he's got a mechanic.
Yeah, he's got a mechanic. He also revealed his mechanic to me by doing this, and I revealed mine to his, right? Obviously, mine is not very relevant to him at all, because it's just putting down random supply centers in the middle of nowhere. His has put the fear of God into me at this point.
Yeah, what's his?
Okay, his is that every turn he acquires one governor's influence. In addition, it's every year he acquires one governor's influence. In addition, every time he waves a build, he gets one governor's influence. And he can use governor's influence to put down extra builds. So one governor's influence converts to one build that he doesn't have a right to build, right?
For how long does he keep that? Does he still disband at the end of the year?
Yes, it disbands down to his supply center count at the end of the year. Although he can then use governor's influence at the end of the year to rebuild more stuff, right?
But it's disbanding and then rebuilding. He can't spend governor's influence to maintain units that exist past supply count.
Yes, exactly. So it's not quite as strong as it sounds, but it's still pretty...
it's still devastating to the people who are within 2 moves of him, like you.
Yes, he also has the ability to use a governor's influence to build in a non-home supply center.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, not a non-supply center. That would be so
even better.
ludicrous.
Yeah, but no, you can just build in a non-core supply center or screwed. He's gonna crush us. We have no chance. That's great.
So
That's
yeah, I look at that and I'm like, oh my god. Alright, so his objective is directly contradictory to mine. Right?
Yep.
His ability is ludicrously stronger than mine in a direct war between the two of us, and I've just revealed to him that he needs to attack me.
Man, oh god. Is this gonna be a war? We just get stomped, right? Oh lordy. Good luck.
Go on.
So yeah, on the scale of 1 to how would you describe your feelings after this spring, CaptainMeme?
I would certainly describe it as an although bear in mind I do have 2 supply centers guaranteed here, which is nice, and no one threatening ASFR, or any of my other ones.
Yeah, this fleet build looks really good, except for the fact that we could have taken A and OF with our other fleet, but hey, we see stuff now, and information's useful.
Yes. I notably, Wislav Bosper wanted to try and establish some kind of foothold on this continent, right? And I am now remembering why we bounced there in the first year. It's because he wanted to get an army over to this continent, and I agreed to let him do that as long as he doesn't put anything there in the first year, and if I go to war with Salt, he helps me against Salt. Right? Which, looking at this Salt stuff, I am now going, well, I'm glad I made that agreement, because I am probably going to need that help sooner rather than later.
Yeah, we got no shot.
You're sure?
Against Salt? No shot.
I mean, look at the position of units here, right? Salt could come in with a 3rd army here, and then we've got a situation where we're on the back foot. But even if we lose this 1 dot that's ours, this is a really hard line to break, WTGR and WTKL, unless he gets fleets out this way, and he's already told me that the sea goes south here. Bosper is telling me that there is a strait through here, but it's one of those ones that's kind of difficult to push through, like it's 1 sea province big, right? And he's intending to go through it himself. So my hope is that Bosper will be able to contain Salt from the sea on this front, and then we can kind of just make sure that he doesn't manage to expand out. Even if he's building 1 million units every turn, at least he can't push out too far. Right?
That's optimistic, right? And if it's really the two of you against him, that's great. Has Bosfor told you what their win condition is?
Okay, hang on. I need to go and check real quick, because I don't actually remember what their win condition was.
But you remember, you guys were talking about this sort of stuff. You have good relations with Bosfor, in addition to just having this, anti-assault mutual defense pact.
Okay, yes, they did. They did tell me what they required. They said they needed a couple of centers on Warfaria, but the majority of what they needed to do was on Icos. They need to discover Icos. Which, I was like, did he just make that up from the name of the variant? The Discovery of Icos. But it was an interesting win condition that he told me. He was like, I need to be able to see 20 tiles on Icos. I'm like, would he have made that up? That feels like an interesting thing to have made up, right? It's quite a wild thing to assert. It's quite outside the bounds of what you would consider a normal victory condition. So I believed him at this point.
Yeah.
That sounds about right, especially for a colonial, because exploring is kind of that thing, right? So I'm going to go with that, and he says he only needs a couple of Warfaria dots, so hopefully that means there'll be enough to go around and I can work with him. And if not, well, hopefully he's just weaker than me by the time we kill Sol. Right. Anything else you want to talk about here, or shall I move along?
Let's see the next moves. We gotta see more people. There's not enough people on this map yet.
Yeah. Well, you can see lots of defensive stuff going on here. Not much actually happening. I believe this unit is convoying an army across, and I got that...
But we can't see the army.
We can't see the army, but I do get told the convoy order because I can see the fleet here. They just didn't draw it on the map.
Yeah, and we can't see the armies move because we can't see the army or anything, so that's why there's no arrow.
Yep.
Sweet.
And I get 1 dot, 2 dots as builds, and manage to move into DHHY. I shouldn't be able to see this until I'm in DHHY, but there's a couple of these just one.
Sure.
And it doesn't make any difference because I see it on the results map anyway, right? And there's still no one here.
Yeah, I was just surprised that we moved into DH whatever, whatever, that HY thing, that deep sea province.
Yep.
Yeah, instead of going WSOR into DWIS. I guess it's reasonable. We're looking more west than south.
Down here and then going this way. Yeah.
But this seems reasonable. I don't know. It's a fair choice. I don't want to deep dive into that much. It's whatever, right? We're discovering new stuff. So this is highly variable, and who knows, right? Too much chaos.
Yeah, I think my main thought at this point is that I really want to establish solid control over this entire area, because this feels like it's so SC dense that I really need to be able to see everything around it. Whereas this is this would be making the most of my ability, potentially, right? Because I might find another continent on the other side.
Yeah, but
but yeah,
we find a continent, we can't fight for it. We just create a dot for someone else to take. Whereas there's also the other argument. If we look at the borders for DWIS, I think it is likely this only borders sea provinces due to all of the straightness. Whereas DWHY had a land border undiscovered, and that land border, in fact, was a supply center. So that's a good argument to go for DWH, whatever, the one we went to.
Yes, yeah,
DHHY instead of the other one. So, yeah, I like that. Yeah, smart.
Absolutely. Alright, yeah, and I think this does absolutely look like it's all next to sea provinces. And just, for me, this is amazing because there's no one here still. I'm so thrilled. You would expect with this many dots around that there would be at least someone who spawns in this area and is contesting me for it. But there's no one. This is just empty space that I can walk into.
Yeah, and it makes the to have 6 dots in the A continent seem trivial. Because we're at 4, we just need 2 more, and maybe literally nobody spawned on it. Wouldn't that be sweet?
Yeah. Indeed. And I mean, I can use these builds to pump armies in here and not lose stuff against Salt. I hope. You can see that another Salt army has appeared in WNNL, which is WNLL, yeah, even. Which now means that he will be able to force WNHP, except I can build another army here now. So I can support hold from the back, which means actually he won't be able to force it, right? But he can probably force WNJO, and then I have a bit of difficulty holding stuff. But I have my friend Bosper, who has said that he's got an army here. I saw his convoy issued, so I think he does have an army here. And hopefully...
That'd be a great troll. Just throw the convoy, making his armies there and just nothing.
Well, I am hoping he has an army there and that he's willing to help me with it. I'm fairly sure he has an army there, but the whole helping me with it thing is the bit that I'm a little bit worried about.
Because if he just like moves his fleet into up WSBE and then walks his army up north, we might be in real trouble.
That could be a problematic situation, yes. If we move forward here, I'm going to build 2 armies. I
now we're building the armies.
Right?
Sorry?
I didn't love this, even though it does make sense given that I'm in an all-out army war and I need to control Wafaria. But, like, what's that army gonna do?
Bad. Yeah, right? Like, you've got 2 armies that both want to go to WTKL. Only one of them can fit there. One of them is, like, stuck supporting WHNP forever, and, like, we're having a bad time, basically.
Yep. I don't love the look of this, but it is what it is. I think I need the armies, so I'm gonna go ahead and have these armies and hope that these fleets can take control of even more stuff over here.
That would right? You've nice. Currently we see a 4th thought over there, but like once we take ANSC, maybe we can get something, and like maybe ASME discovers some more land and more dots, like who knows?
Yeah.
Sweet.
At the moment, my theory about this area is that there is another player somewhere here who the game designers had anticipated going north and contesting, or going west even, and contesting
East,
this area.
Northeast.
But they decided to go south instead, something like that, right?
And hell yeah. We love that.
Absolutely. Alright, so we'll go straight ahead to the moves here. You can see I'm maneuvering to go past, because I see nothing contesting ASNC, right? I can just take that on the next turn, so I may as well move past it and see what's over here. And then this fleet is going back just to check on Bosper, because I really don't want him moving into WSB. I do see the danger there, right? I don't like not having sight of this province.
And we're going to say, guys, this is officially the start of the Salt CaptainMeme War, so all of you who bet 03, congratulations, you win.
Yep.
I'm willing to say, if we counted last phase when Salt got the army into WNLL, and so that would be fall of 02, you might also be a winner, but for sure it's like either fall of 02 or winter or spring of 03.
I think he did attack me in the... No, he didn't attack me. He just
no, but he was supporting himself as expecting you to attack him, and he moved an army into WNLL.
Yeah.
So, I mean... Yeah, unclear. Up to you guys what the answer is.
I'm only just noticing this now, but I see that they made a mistake with putting some water on the bottom here. Maybe I could have figured something else about the layout from that.
Too much thinking.
Yes, yeah. I'm not thinking that much. So I'm going into DMHY, and I'm going into ASME, and here I'm kind of expecting maybe I'll meet someone in this area, because I feel like at this point I've got to be reaching the home centers of whoever was supposed to contest this area, right? This is too far to get. So we will go to the next... Sorry.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe there's nobody.
If there's nobody, I'll be very, very happy. We go to the next phase and see this. Now,
how did they get the army on Anko?
Yeah, this is exactly my question, right?
Huh? What?
So I'm asked whether I want to open communications with this player. I go ahead and say yes, because
absolutely not.
You wouldn't?
No. We take that dot, we disband it, and they have no idea what happened.
I was just so curious about what happened for them to get
No.
No.
We keep it secret. Stealth bomber, we come in, take the dot, leave them clueless. They don't get to move into the deep seas. We are not establishing connections. No. No. We don't talk. This is diplomacy. I get it. The negotiations, that whole thing. No. We just make them scared of the deep sea. They think if they go there, no.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe. Who knows? What can they do? These are aliens. Maybe they can teleport. No,
that's very possible, right?
Right? We don't talk to like the teleporting spiders. Those phase spiders in Baldur's Gate 3, bad enemies. We don't fight. No.
Well, I do not play like Ezio. I was friendly. I decided to open communications with them and ask them,
like, you're gonna take the dot, surely.
There?
But then they're gonna know that it was you, and they're gonna be pissed at you. If you're just like, hey, I just saw a dot, I just took it, like I wasn't. Well, don't worry about it. Like. Now they're going to be pissed at you specifically. Oh, no.
Well, I mean, it's just an army, right? I could just go into ANSC and take it afterwards.
No. How the army got there, CaptainMeme.
It did. Yeah, so this is what we have to discuss, right? In order to get an army to an island like this, you would have to convoy it in under standard diplomacy rules. There is no fleet adjacent to convoy that army in. Now, what could have happened, of course, is that they convoyed the army in on a previous turn and it stayed there, except that is a neutral SC, which means it had to have arrived this turn, because otherwise it would have captured it. There is no adjacent province for it to have moved to or from, right? To not capture that. So that had to have arrived there this turn, and we can't see any unit that could have gotten it there. So I'm very confused at this point, and I open communications with this player, who I'm going to have to go and open the thing to remember the name of, because I know their actual player name, but I forget their country name. Snoo.
Sure.
SNEU. This player.
Brace. Oh no.
And I asked them how they got that unit there, and they're like, "Oh, hello, nice to meet you. I have units that can randomly teleport. So I have an order type.
Spiders.
I have an order type that allows me to put in a direction, so north, northwest, northeast, something like that, for an army unit, and my army will randomly arrive at some SC in that direction." I'm just like,
so first of all, what? Do you believe this?
I was like, well, this sounds a little suspicious, but like, how else did it get there? I don't see how else it could have gotten into that province.
Sure.
Would you have believed this?
No.
Why would you not have believed it? Is it just because
their armies are?
Is too
that's such a crazy power to have. And ours is, we like have one supply center on the map and we can move with neutrals. No. Theirs is like their armies double as fleets. Or like they can convoy a unit twice as far, like from not an adjacent supply center, or like that's not their power. Yeah, they're not teleporting randomly on this map. That's not it.
Yeah. Well, I go ahead and talk to them and go, okay, well, I would appreciate if you don't, like, randomly teleport around the northern side of the map, for obvious reasons here. I'm very happy to leave you Anko, but I would like you to teleport back south again afterwards.
Yeah, it's like, if their power is randomly teleport to first of all, if their power was randomly teleport to an open supply center, that would be the greatest power of all time.
I know you'd love it.
Every one of my armies, every phase will teleport, and just say, yeah, show me the dots. There are dots on this map. Give them to me. And that would be amazing. But also, like, every fall, do that order.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And you're gonna, like, double with all of your armies, and, like, no one can stop you from getting anywhere? Like,
Yeah, but it's a direction that you have to issue, right? So there has to be a supply center in that direction in order for you to land there.
But, like, come on, you're in the northwest corner of the map, I'll go east.
Yeah,
I'll go southeast. Right? I've spawned in the west where I am. They're going to go east or north, and there's going to be a dot somewhere.
Yep. No. Well, we come to an agreement, right? I go ahead and say, I'll let you live in Anko as long as you teleport back down south again afterwards. I'll go and take another supply center I have access to on this turn, because I don't I don't need to send this unit in here, I could just go this way. Right?
No, this enemy is too strong.
Now,
We
remember...
cannot negotiate.
armies can't see fleets, so it's fully possible that they can't see the sea provinces around this, right?
Yeah.
So it's possible that they don't... In fact, it's very likely that they don't know that I have these two fleets here, and that they're thinking I just discovered them with one unit, and...
Yeah, that's very plausible.
Yeah.
Assuming everyone's honest about everything that's happened so far.
Yes, exactly. Okay, other things to note, on the other side of the map, you will see that Bospur has gotten into this center. You may not have seen exactly what happens here. Like, I support this unit up, but we don't see the actual move of the unit, because I can't see the unit here, right? But it does get in. I completely outguess Salt in this situation, because he doesn't see my unit back here that's issuing the support hold. And he's trying to tap this and then take this one.
Alright, just so we're clear, this is not completely outguessing Salt. This is, like, a little bit of outguessing Salt.
Okay, yeah, it's a little bit of outguessing, and also knowing that Bospur is on my side, and Bospur convincing Salt that he's on Salt's side, right? Or that he's not against Salt.
I think it would have been better if you had supported your army from whatever, your southern army, into his supply center, right, with the support hold. That would have been completely outguessing.
Oh, this is true.
Yeah, you would have ended up in there, your ally would have ended up in WNLL, and then, like, you get to see more, and, like, things would be sweet, and you'd be in the dot, and able to defend your northern dot still. So I think that's completely outguessing, but this is still, we're very pleased with this result.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, now the problem, of course, is that he does have a forward retreat if he wants it, and I think he's likely to take it.
Defend.
But then, of course, he ends up adjacent to two of my units that can just try and push him out again, so...
Yeah, and I will say, I think it's likely that Salt has a wave to build to get that extra, like, strength for later by getting those, whatever, governor's points.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So I think it's plausible he's playing down a unit or two, and so he's likely playing defensively this phase.
Yes, that's very possible. Now, note that he does get an automatic governor point every turn anyway, so he can theoretically play up one unit for the entire game if he wants to, right? Just disband it every fall and rebuild it every winter, or disband it every winter and rebuild it every winter, even.
But I think, I don't know.
But yeah, he might be trying to save them up, that is, especially considering his win condition requires him to have 20 of them.
Right, and like trying to save them early, like it's good to downplay your strength in early game and like be ready to fight for a big one. So I don't know. I would want to. I assume that Salt just does anything that I would do at any given point in time, and I would definitely save builds early, as much as possible.
Yep. All right. So yeah, really two things going on for me. I've got this war on this front against Salt. With Bospur on my side, and I've got this random Snoo unit in Anko. As mentioned, I have told Snoo that I will not do anything to that unit. I will go into an ANSC. I don't really... I'm not 100% sure whether to believe that teleporting ability. I feel like I need some confirmation that it's real, because obviously it's an insanely powerful ability to have, and if he has something that's slightly different to that, I really need to know what it is, right? Because somehow he got a unit here, and that could threaten, like, whatever that ability is, could threaten other dots in this area, too. So I go ahead and tell him that I'm not going to do anything to his unit, and then I'm like, well, I want to find out your ability. Well, I don't say this to him. I'm just thinking, I want to find out your ability. I am absolutely going to dislodge that unit.
Yeah, because if you dislodge the unit, you know what's going on.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so why did we tell him that we... Oh, my God.
Alright, so yes, you can see I go for Anko anyway. I am absolutely wanting to get that information, and I leave ANSC for the time being. I'm like, okay, I can go into there in a previous phase. Not in a previous phase, in a future phase, even. You can see I'm also now exploring down south with this extra fleet that I have. Now I have some confirmation that Bospur isn't going into WSBE, and I should have rebuilds, or at least one extra build here.
Question on that previous turn, Captain Meme. Do you know if WSAC convoyed something into WNGH?
I don't think I do because I wasn't adjacent
Oh,
to it
you weren't
during
there
the
anymore.
order
Yep, got it.
phase.
Sure, so we have
Yeah.
no idea.
So I'm certainly hoping they didn't. Like, actually, I mean, it's probably a good thing for me if they convoy a few more units in, or at least just one more unit in, just to help put the pressure on Souls a little bit more. It's not like armies can do that much to me. The
Yeah, and
fleets would do more.
given that he moved into WNLL, I think it's pretty plausible that they're fighting Salt.
Yeah.
So I think that's generally speaking, yeah, let's get more people over here.
Yes. So you can see I go for the force disband, hopefully, on WNJI. I was kind of hoping this would cover WNGH. It might
Yeah.
have convoyed something, I don't remember. We'll see here. I also try and support Bosper into WNHL, but you can see that that does not work. There's a support hold on there from Salt. So Salt is holding in his corner, even if he is on the back foot right now. Notably, both Bosper and Salt are telling me that Bosper is making some progress on this front and getting into like the seas that go around this side. So I'm feeling quite good about the position we're getting Salt into right
Awesome.
now.
Yeah, that's such good news. And the fact that both people are confirming it really helps.
Yes. Because, of course...
And Assault saying this is like, oh yeah, we can peace out because he's attacking me, so you can leave me, balance of power and all that stuff.
Yes, absolutely. It is exactly that. Like, Salt knows that's the kind of thing that I might accept, right? If I think the Bosper is getting too powerful on Waferia, I might just go, I need to work with Salt right now to make sure that I'm the dominant power in Waferia, not Bosper.
Mm-hmm.
And as you mentioned, of course, colonial powers can be rather strong, so who knows how he's doing on Icos as well. Like, he could be funding... He could end up funding this war with extra units, which would be a problem.
Yeah. But the important part, did we dislodge that army in Enko?
Over here, we did indeed. So you can see it is dislodged. And of course, in the retreat phase, I then find out his actual ability, which is not what he said it was. It is rather more terrifying. And I think you may notice this if you have a good eye, because that is not my fleet in ASFR.
Yeah.
Okay, so, first, one of Snoo's abilities. You cannot ever get navigation. Which is...
Great.
Yeah,
okay.
That's a pretty
good.
That seems like a pretty terrible ability, right?
Yeah.
They can't ever move through these territories, right? Well,
yeah, that's like really important actually, because there's a lot of these territories that we would love to. Yeah, if he can't do that, we're gonna have control over the seas. This is huge.
You would think so. The second part of that ability is your fleets treat every not every supply center, every province around a deep sea zone, which is the entire conglomerate of deep sea territories, as all being adjacent to each other. So he could move, like, ASLC is adjacent to Anko, ASME, ANSC, Anto, ASFR, WSMC, and all of these provinces down here as well, right? If there's a fleet down here, for example, it also treats this as being entirely adjacent. And obviously I didn't see exactly what this unit's move was, but it turns out this was a fleet down here that just jumps over to ASFR on this turn. Because it treats those as adjacent. I'm like,
yeah, alright, we're dead. You concede. This one's over.
Oh my god.
That power is disgusting. What?
And of course, it's not even you can move to, it's these provinces are adjacent for your fleets.
You can support, you can convoy, you're done. Alright, tap out.
Yeah,
it was fun knowing everyone. Okay, if their objective is global domination, they have to have every supply center on the map. Maybe they don't win, but certainly you're never winning. Now, this one's done.
Okay, do you want to know their objective as well? Because I did discover that on this turn.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Let's hear it.
Their objective, own 13 coastal coastal SCs, even, and see less than 3 enemy fleets. on a turn. Which is...
I'm sorry, what?
So they have to own 13 supply centers, and while they own 13 supply centers, they have to have vision of less than 3 enemy fleets. Which is... I mean, it's a really interesting one combined with their ability, because of course their ability makes everything adjacent to a deep sea zone visible if they have a fleet in any of them, which means actually hitting that second part of the ability could be really difficult. Of course,
Own
that
13 coastal
13
provinces.
coastal SCs.
Coastal SCs. Any continent, their choice.
Yes, exactly.
And only 13.
Yes. So substantially easier than mine, I felt.
Trivial.
It is...
Trivial.
Yeah, it's really the second part of that ability that feels like it would be difficult for them to achieve, but of course
I need to
that's...
have conquered my enemies.
Yeah, but of course that doesn't matter to me because, oh my god, they can jump into any of my dots over here. And I don't really care if they can win beyond that point. I'll be dead anyway. Right?
Yeah, like, your point about we needed to build 1 million fleets. Yeah, we needed 1 million fleets.
Yep.
Because we were so secure, right? When we were looking at all of our centers, right? Like, we have these fleets that had this very clean vision path that had gone, so nothing could have slipped through us, right?
Mhm.
Unless they had multiple moves in a turn, essentially. And our deep sea was doing really nicely. And then, oops, they just did 4 moves in a turn.
Yep.
And they're going to do that every other turn for the rest of the game.
Well,
And
hey,
we don't build anymore. Yeah, no, all right. Yeah, no, this is hopeless.
at least it's not teleporting armies, eh? I mean, I genuinely think this is stronger than teleporting armies, which is a
Teleporting
little
armies is
insane.
funnier.
Yeah.
This is certainly more damaging to us than teleporting armies would be.
Yes.
Because this is just, I have complete naval control over everything.
Absolutely.
They can see it all. They have vision of everything. They saw us for years as we just, like, slowly meander towards them.
Yep. So, thankfully, there is one thing
Wait a
that...
second.
So,
Can their army in Anko retreat to ANSC?
no, because it's specific to their fleets, this ability. So their armies
Got it.
don't
They're just
treat
going to build
these
1
as
million fleets every
adjacent.
time. Okay, cool.
I am very lucky in that regard, because otherwise this army would be incredibly annoying as well. But I have managed to get rid of this army.
No, they can build fleets instead. We helped them.
Yeah,
They were
I have,
hoping
obviously.
we'd disband it. Oh my god!
I've obviously got an issue now, right? But I do have a bit of a lifeline, which is that Snoo is hard aligned to someone called Usneji, a yellow power somewhere south of this, who I have never heard of, right? Now, apparently that power is getting completely demolished, so Snoo wants to focus on helping them. I'm just like, okay, that's great to hear. Please just ignore the fact that I blew up your unit, and I'll forgive you for taking ASFR. Now, my thinking is, I can't really defend any of these provinces up here. I can defend ANPR and ANOP, as long as I keep a unit in ASFR, because then if they force their way into ASFR, right, again, then I can retreat into one of these and hopefully have a unit around to defend the other. The main thing is those aren't adjacent to deep sea. I feel like anything next to deep sea is basically never going to be mine if I'm at war with this player. So I just go ahead and say...
with this player, given that they thought of you and you took the center from them. So yeah.
Yeah, so I basically just go ahead and say to them, look, I'm willing to give you Anko back. I'm willing to give you ANSC. I just want you out of my trading post, and let me back into there. And we can call it a draw here. I'm not going to go any further towards you, right? And you just don't go any
That's
further
honest.
towards me.
That would be an amazing deal if they accepted it. That'd be so
Yes.
nice. And that's a sign of just how badly outgunned we are, right? We're going to give you 2 dots. Please just give us the 1. Please have mercy, for the love of God.
Yes.
Oh, we're so screwed.
Now, I try and make it out that this is less because I'm scared of their power, right? Because obviously I know their power, they don't know mine. So for all they know, I could have something equally broken to fight back against them with. So
it's a shame that they see this supply center that you've created.
Yes.
Maybe they don't. Maybe they're just like, maybe there are some naval supply centers, right? That could be a thing.
I do have a problem in that I have already mentioned that that's a trading post and not a supply center.
Captain Me.
I go ahead and sort of hyper-focus on that fact and go, look, I need ASFR, that's part of my win condition. I will throw everything at you if you are in there for the rest of the game, right? So you go and take those 2 supply centers over there, I will walk back into that dot in ASFR and we can call it a day. And they seem pretty happy with that deal. As mentioned, they were scared for Usineji, so they want to go back and defend against that. And they were mentioning, look, there's a bright red power in the south that's basically dominating right now, so I need to peace out with that. I'm like, do you happen to know the name of that bright red power? Because I might have heard about it from another player too, right? If they're that big. And they go, oh, it's Eshil. I'm like, yes! That is great news, because of course Eshil is the power who I have a win condition to work with, right? If they own 12 supply centers across Aqualia and Icos, wherever that is, I can win the game if I get 12 just in Lefaria. Which is looking like it might be the condition that I need to go for now, given that
no shot.
I have no chance at these, yeah. So I'm just glad to have heard of Eshil, and I've heard they're doing well. That's good news. Whether I want to release Snoo on them, given Snoo's power, is another question. But I gotta prioritize myself first and foremost, right? And getting out of this is my first priority, and then I'll figure out what I can do to help Eshil.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
Nah, they'll figure it out. They've got units or something, or powers maybe.
Alright. Well, okay. This is actually... Okay, yeah, so here, because of the way that we went in against Salt here, it's actually possible that Salt takes WNLL, right? And you can see that's exactly what Salt does on this turn. I think Bosper assured me that there would be a good retreat from here, and he still says there is. He's going to be able to retreat somewhere behind Salt's lines, so I'm not too bothered with that, and I have these 3 units on this front, which is good enough for me. Anyway, this is the area I'm more focused on right now. Yeah. Okay, so... here we are after the phase. I get to... Ooh, that's too far. Did I not? Oh, I don't build on this turn because I lose ASFR, right? And gain Anko.
We were neutral and nothing got popped. And we just gave them another fleet. My god.
Yep. So if we move into this next phase, right, you can see I'm moving into ASFR to try and go there. I'm really hoping he goes back into either ANSC or Anko. Here, and I'm just keeping on exploring down here with my extra fleet, seeing if I can create a safe...
we don't pull this back to help us defend. Okay.
I probably should have, eh? I guess my feeling is more that, I have this ability to create these random trading posts. I may as well try and use that and, gain an extra... supply center in the middle of nowhere for the moment, just so that I can
I also
stuff.
like giving more dots to this pink power. Yeah, what a great idea.
Well, we know the pink power came from over here, right? So they're probably not around here.
They teleport to all the deep oceans.
Yeah, so they teleport around a deep sea zone, which is like a
Yeah.
conglomeration of deep oceans.
But then they're at ASFR and they're gonna move to the AS8, whatever, the south one, and then they're gonna teleport to our dot.
Okay, if they do that, then I'm in trouble. But I'm
Right?
hoping
We're
this
just
unit goes over here or over here or
Yeah, we're
something.
really hoping that's the case. Not that they can build a new fleet in some coastal center that's adjacent to this deep seas province, and it's gonna go wherever. We also hope it doesn't go to WSMC. God, we're just dead. All right.
Okay, right. And then, so I go out this way.
Hey, we do get in. That's great.
Yes. So I'm down here. I found another boss bear unit. Interesting. And you will notice that these provinces down here have an I, so we know this is Icos. Icos is spelled ICOS. I guess you can see that from the title of the video, but Ezio cannot. Right? And we've got more Aqualia dots over here, and we've got a bright red power, who I know is Eshel from my communications with them. We've got Usneji, who is yellow, and of course Snoo sitting down here in ASFO. Unfortunately,
dun.
I know from... It wasn't displayed on the previous map, but because I could see the unit, I know they ordered this unit into ANSC. So they have two fleets adjacent to this deep sea zone right now.
And they can support themselves in ASFR, and we can't stop it.
Yep. It's not great news. Right?
Our fleets are so bad.
It's so sad. It's so brutal. I mean, I did get some flavor text when I discovered their ability and stuff, because all of this comes with flavor text. This whole thing is based on one of the GM's D&D worlds, right? So I'm a human trading faction, and all the factions over here have been kind of human colonists or human trading factions. This faction over here is actually... so this is a mermaid faction, is what I discovered. Or mer people in general, right? Which is why they're able to travel across the oceans like that. Discovering Usneji was an interesting one as well. They freely told me what their ability is, because they think I'm coming in to help them against Eshel. That was... Actually, I really should have mentioned that. That was part of the deal, was that I used this fleet to help Usneji against Eshel. And so they tell me their whole thing, which is that they are tieflings who live here, and they are being driven out by another human faction, which is Eshel, who are, of course, my people who sailed off on those ships 5 years ago and landed down here. So, yeah. And it turns out Usneji is about to die. They have no supply centers left. Well, they have one supply center left, but Eshel is in it right now. So they have a bit of an emergency situation here. There are a few ways we could potentially solve this. I could support
Convoy them to Anko.
I love your thinking there. You may be jumping the gun somewhat, but yes, that is what gets suggested here. I could have supported them into AMVE, right? But Snoo has another idea because of Usneji's ability. So, Usneji has an ability that they're willing to share with us openly, because they're pretty sure that both myself and Snoo are working with them, right? They hate their ability, and they think that they have been cursed with it, basically. Which is that they can basically launch a nuke. It's not a nuke, it's like summoning a demon. On any province they can't see, one province per turn, as long as they can name it. So it has to be... it has to be an...
Okay.
It has to be a province that isn't drawn on the map for them, so that they've never seen, right? It's not like
but
one of these.
Dude, get that power. Oh my god, what does the nuke do exactly?
So, the nuke will destroy any units there, right?
Yeah.
It will keep the control of the province. It doesn't affect the control of the province, but it also renders that province impassable for the rest of the game. Anything that goes into that province, they can attempt to go into it, but anything that goes into that province will be destroyed. once it gets there.
Control of the province is retained.
Yes, so that is.
Let's say they nuke your supply center, right? They nuke ANPR.
Mm-hmm.
Is it still a supply center?
Yes, it is.
This is your supply center for the rest of the game.
So that is how they thought it worked, right?
Yeah, but actually, like, makes it no longer a supply center, right?
No, it does keep it as a supply center. So this is what Snoo's idea was. Basically, they're like, okay, Usneji can't see Anko right now. So how about if we convoy this Usneji unit via my fleet or your fleet, right? It doesn't really matter. Into Anko at the same time as Usneji nukes Anko. They'll take it, and then no one will be able to go into it for the rest of the game. So they survive on one supply center. I think they mentioned that they have another fleet somewhere here, so they must have been on more than one supply center on this turn. But they are the plan then is that they have this one invincible supply center that no one can ever enter, right?
Yeah, and then they can just progressively nuke provinces forever.
Yeah, and
at your guys' discretion.
This is exactly it, right? They're basically a vassal, and what is an ability that is relatively useless for them, right? I think the mods balanced it around the idea that they'd be using it for themselves, and so they would have to try and, like, negotiate information off other powers to nuke their direct enemy. Suddenly, as a vassal, that doesn't apply anymore, right? You just go, hey, Snoo, who do you want nuked? Give me a province name and I'll nuke that province. And then
I will say, if you make something impassable for the rest of the game, I feel like you should also remove the supply center there.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like summoning this demon equivalent to just, like, give you a supply center forever seems a bit insane.
Yes. We will get to that in a second, because a lot of people who saw this ability thought exactly the same way as you, right? This is absolutely ludicrous. The fact that you can make a province impassable, you can nuke it, and you can take the supply center before you nuke it, right? And then you just have that supply center forever, and it just becomes completely invincible. That is ludicrous. Turns out that's not exactly how it works, but we'll get to that next year, because that's when we discover this fact, right?
Sure, it's like they nuke it, but they don't actually keep it because of the order of adjudication. So they can't take a province and nuke it, or they can see it once the nuking occurs, and so the nuke doesn't actually trigger because the nuke needed them to not have seen the province. It's going to be one of the two. I hope it's the first one for your sake, because that'll just give you Anko forever, and that'd be really funny.
That would be really nice. It's actually neither of those, but they're both interesting thoughts.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, okay. I'm curious to see what happens.
So if we go into the next phase here, okay, so first thing to mention, I did not open communications with Eshil on this turn. Specifically, I wasn't even allowed to. I wasn't given the option, because I couldn't see any of their units. I was like,
okay, I
should be able to, but like... Yeah, but yeah, I'm technically supposed to be working with Eshil and all that, but Snoo is saying to me that they want me to work against Eshil, Usneji wants me to work against Eshil, and they have the ability to nuke stuff, right? And I was thinking, I can just go to Eshil once I've taken the supply center and go, hey, well, they're probably covering it anyway, right? Because there's a yellow army next to it, but if they don't, I can go ahead and say, I need to set deep cover, right? Because no one knows my connection with you, except Salt, who is all the way over here. And I need to be in deep cover to be able to get all this information from yellow and pink. So I'll go into their supply center and hope I can like play it off on the next turn and still work with them. At the end of the day, our win conditions are tied together anyway, so it's not like that should hurt me that much, right? But yeah, so I go into ANVE over here. You can see this is the nuking sign. It's a little pentagram. It's a bit hard to see.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, here. Demon summoning.
Yep. ANJE gets convoyed via ASFO over into Anko.
Sure.
And I believe NSC actually supports my unit into ANVE.
Sweet.
Which is nice. You can see I'm moving into ISDI to put down a trading post there, so I get another build here.
Sweet,
and
that's good.
I'm going to take ASFR as well, but I'm losing ANC here.
Assuming things work the way we expect. So neutral, and then we're like
Yeah.
going +2 this year. That's great.
You do see a quick flip on things over this side.
Yeah, so we're +3 then, but we only have 2 open. Okay.
Yeah, that is a bit... I was not really expecting to get everything that... Or at least to keep everything that I had. Which, actually, looking at it, doesn't make that much sense. I should probably have just expected to get everything. I think I wasn't expecting to actually get into ANVE was the big difference here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't expect for everything to work out either.
Yeah.
I don't understand why Pink isn't just destroying us, but maybe they're under huge pressure in the south or something. I'm not really sure.
It's possible.
Maybe they have, but we know all of their stuff. I was thinking maybe they have some downside, like their fleets cost 2 supply or something, but nope.
No, we know everything
No, they don't.
about
We know
them.
everything.
The only downside that they could have is where they're at on the map, I suppose, right?
Yeah, but whatever. Anyways, alright, so this is great. I'm glad we're working with Salt. I'm sure this is going to have no issues in the long run.
Yes, so that is the other thing that's happened. But yes, I've gone to Salt on this front and gone, look, we're kind of at a stalemate here. There's not that much going on between us, right? And I think Salt was kind of very much of the same opinion and had been trying to get this across to me for a long time. I'm aware that Bosper is managing to push in a bit on this front, which is actually a bit annoying to me because it's not getting me any progress, right? He's just getting himself progress, and I now see that he's over here on Icos, and I've heard that he may be doing well, like in fact, I don't remember if I'd heard that he was doing well over here. I think he mentioned that he was doing well, which is not a good thing to mention when you're playing a game with me. That's like... Fog of War 101 is never tell CaptainMeme that you're doing well. Just always say that you're doing badly. Yeah. I was just like, well, I'll try and change things up over here. I think it's worth a go. Because I don't see myself ever breaking this Salt line. Like, just these territories over here feel so hard to break through, especially with Salt's ability to build an extra unit no matter what, and knowing that he's in the corner. That just feels rough. So yeah, that's I assume you would have just kept attacking Salt at this point, right?
That's tough. I would have tactics a little differently, I think. Like, I probably would have moved W and JO south instead of back.
Mm-hmm.
And been like, hey, right, I would have had it backfill.
Yes.
Right, so I don't want to have this isolated unit in this dot to the south. I feel like that's just begging to have a Belgium go, where, like, then Salt supports the other enemy back into it type stuff. So, but, oh well.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, yep. If we move forward to the results here, you can see I've gotten into AMVE. I don't see Anko anymore, but I get news from Usneji that they have indeed captured Anko and it's nuked. So there's nothing... they now have an invincible supply center over here. I get WNGH, I get AFSFR, and I get ANVE, and I get ISDI. So it's generally a really good turn for me. And you can see the other Usneji fleet here, which is the only unit that's going to survive, right? From them.
Yeah, so I mean, I think we're very happy with this turn. Hopefully we can have peace with this, like, absolutely terrifying power that is the mermaids.
Yes.
And we've got some dots, and, like, maybe Salt is gonna be engaged with other people for a while? Question mark?
Yeah, we can hope. So 2 things that happen on the negotiation front here. Now that I'm in ANVE, Eshil opens communications with me, because they have an army adjacent to this. And they're
and they're like, yo, what gives?
What the hell, man? We're supposed to be on the same team. Eshil in this game is Diamond Zack. They have a YouTube channel that they run with Really Ugly Bug, I think. And they've been through this exact game. So if you want their perspective on this, which it's always great to get multiple perspectives on diplomacy games, but I think especially this one is a really cool one to do it for, because you'll see all the different areas of the map, right? And what they got through their perspective. So if you want to see that, I'll have it linked in the description below. But yeah, so they were really annoyed with me at this point, and I wasn't sure whether they were putting it on, because obviously everyone, like Snoo and Usneji, were both telling me that they were doing incredibly well. And from watching their video, they were really genuinely annoyed with me for doing this, because it denied them a very much needed build, I think. And it's also taking a build center off them, which is extra painful. But yeah, so
yeah,
I
mean,
was
the
just
fact
like,
that you weren't even building makes it really great.
I did not tell them that.
Yeah, but once they see this, they're gonna have a great time.
Yeah, I was a bit embarrassed about that fact. But yes, I was certainly not going to tell them that. But yeah, I go ahead and say to them, look, I've managed to get into Snoo and Usneji's good books by doing this right there. I realize they're an incredibly strong duo, because Snoo just has a ludicrously broken ability by itself, and Eshel didn't know Snoo's ability, so I was able to share that with them, right? And obviously Usneji has the ludicrously broken ability for helping someone else with, which makes them together, like, insane, absolutely insane. So I feel like having some information about what they're doing is really important. And I think they sort of begrudgingly accepted that. But then said, don't do this again. Right? Everything we need to coordinate together from this point on, now that we've got communications with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the situation right now. I'm now working with Salt. I'm working in inverted commas with Snoo and Usneji over here, and I am working with Eshel because they are parts of my win condition, right? So yeah, we can see 2 extra fleets come down on my part, and Bosper takes off this fleet here, which was the other thing that happened on that turn. I go to Bosper and I say, look, I'm really sorry, I feel like I was too bogged down in that war with Salt, and I was never going to make any progress. So I had to take the offer that was offered, right? And he was like, yeah, whatever. And at this point, he tells me, I was getting attacked from the south anyway on that front. I didn't want to tell you because you might consider me too weak of an ally. But given that now I've lost this dot up here and I've just got a random unit traveling around behind Salt's line, I'm just going to give up on Warfaria. I'm like, hang on. That's not what I want to hear. I mean, it's kind of what I want to hear, but, like, that means I'm in a 1v1 with Salt now, right? With a potentially unknown power coming up from the south.
Great.
Yeah. So I may have traded a guaranteed ally for someone I have no idea about, who isn't even here yet. A whelp.
Balance of power.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes. But I do have Usneji on my side, and I was going, look, I'm in an endless war, can you spare me a nuke at some point to help me out? And they were like, I can potentially do that at some point, but I'm going to prioritize Snoo. Which I was just like, I'm not sure I like that.
We're dead!
Okay, so...
We're so dead!
So, super important thing that happens here, right? You can ask the mods clarifying questions about abilities that you officially know about. So...
Yeah.
I can ask the mods clarifying questions about Snoo's ability, about Pink's ability, right? Because I've dislodged their unit and I officially know their ability. I cannot ask clarifying questions about Usneji's ability, Yellow, because I have never officially learned their ability, even though they've told me it. Right?
Yeah. But they could have lied.
They could have lied, except... of course, Eshel has been fighting Usneji the entire game. So they have obviously dislodged an Usneji unit at some point. And actually, amazingly, you'll see this in Diamond's X commentary, they really prioritize not letting any of their units get dislodged at all. So Usneji does not know about their ties with me, which could have screwed things over majorly if they hadn't done that, so I'm very thankful about that, right? But they have gained knowledge of Usneji's ability officially, so they can ask clarifying questions about Usneji's ability to the mods. So I described this Anko plan to Eshil, who is like...
I'm exact, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like something they would do. Does that? And I was like, so they've got an invincible supply center that's there forever. Well, like, is it really invincible forever? That sounds so ludicrously broken. It's like, well, what happens if I go, say, to DLHY in the spring and then to Anko in the fall? Because Usneji convoyed into Anko and then nuked themselves, right? But it was technically in the same phase. They got control of the province, and it got nuked, so everything got destroyed there. Is it possible that I can take control of that province before my unit gets destroyed by the impassable territory effect? So I ask Eshil to ask that question, like we brainstorm that idea together, and the mods go, yeah, that's how it works. If you go into a nuke supply center in the fall, you'll capture the supply center, and then your unit will get destroyed. Like,
very.
Ooh, that suddenly makes Usneji's ability a little less broken. And it gives us some kind of counterplay to it, right? That's very cool. And really importantly, it's something that Usneji and Snoo don't know. They assume that that province is just completely invincible from now on. So that's a super useful thing to know. Right.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's where we're at with that. I'm not immediately going to try and do that. Because I do have this agreement with Snoo still, and I still want to see Snoo, like, back their units out of this area, and just trust me a lot more, right? Because that's the only way I'm going to win a war with this pink player. Their ability is too powerful otherwise. And yeah, that is... that is that. Yeah, is there anything you want to talk about my moves on this specific turn? Or
Yeah, I do want to confirm one thing. Is that demon summoning province once per year or once per phase?
It's once per phase, if I recall correctly. I can actually go and check real quick.
Jeez.
I know, right? It's like... And that's the amazing thing. They thought they were kind of screwed over by having that ability, and I can't really disagree with them, because for themselves it's really not that useful, right? They can't nuke anything that they have vision on, or that they've ever had vision on, so it's more of a support ability for someone else.
But it's the best ability to have as an ally. Yeah,
exactly. Alright. Oh no, it's once per year, sorry. So it is less good than I was making it out to be there. The exact wording of that is, if you can name a province you have no sight of once per year... wait, no. If you can name a province you have no sight once per year of... Okay, that's a bit weirdly worded, but it will be turned into a wasteland where all units who enter die instantly. So yeah, it's quite a thematically worded thing, which is why we had to ask the clarifying question, I guess.
Yeah, but also the wasteland makes it sound like it shouldn't be a supply center anymore.
You would think, yeah, but it is. Yeah. Yes, so, then we also... So this move over here was agreed with Snoo and Usneji to basically go, okay, I'm going to go around and put pressure on this southern side. And it was also agreed with Eshil because they wanted their build center back, right? They're like, get the hell out of my center. Right now, I'll forgive your previous entry into it, but don't do it again. Yeah, and then over this side, Salt is actually keeping his word and moving south, which is awesome.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So we are actually managing to do stuff over here. That's pretty cool. Yeah, okay, hang on. Okay, so it does turn out that Usneji has another place that they weren't talking about over here. I think I probably heard about this from Eshel anyway, on that previous turn, but I just don't remember it there. But yeah, it doesn't really matter that much to me, right? It's not strictly relevant. And everything over here seems to be going kind of fine. I am keeping this fleet around WSMC as well, just to make sure that I have that extra protection on AFSFR. And also, now that I know that Usneji has that nuke ability, I do not want to let anyone into either of these provinces. Because if they name a home supply center, you can never build there again, right? And this one in particular is next to two. I mean, this one as well is next to two of my home supply centers. That could be really, really bad. So, kind of important for me to protect these two.
Yeah, that could be catastrophic.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Alright, yeah. That's kind of it for that phase, I guess. There's not much else to talk about. I think there is definitely still a pink fleet here that we need to watch out for. So, something worth keeping an eye on. Alright. Let's go through to the movement phase. So you can see I am making sure that I don't lose ASFR here. I do know that they have that fleet there and that fleet there, which are both technically adjacent to it. So I don't want to take any chances on that front. And then this unit is just moving back into the deep sea. Theoretically, in talking to Snoo and Usneji, that's just because I don't have much more I can do in that area, right? But talking to Eshil, it's so that I can take Anko back. Oh. You may notice something else going on if you're looking over the side of the map.
What? No way.
I know, right? I can't believe Salt would stab me like this. This is absolutely ludicrous. Yeah, Salt stabs me for WNGH, which is the only center I got out of stabbing Bosphor in the first place. So this whole balance of power thing has just destroyed my alliance with Bosphor, completely taken Bosphor off the island, so now Salt has regained his control over this area, and I didn't even get a dot out of it in the long run. Not great.
Bye.
Oh, man. Alright. But yes, so other thing that's happening, Usneji has said that with their fleet, they just want to go and see the world, so I'm just like, yeah, sure, go past, that's fine on this side. I don't mind if Usneji sees my supply centers, because obviously they can't nuke anything that they see, so that's not a problem for me. But I am also just trying to make them as happy as possible so that I can kind of go, nudge, nudge, can you nuke Salt for me, please, at some point? It's really quite important for me. Alright. So yeah, we end up with a Snoo fleet there. Interesting. I think I probably knew about that at the time, because it must have been supported down from NSC.
Sure.
But yeah. That means this unit gets force disbanded here. And now here we're sitting, this is the full phase, so he ends up taking an ANVE. Yeah, there's not much different on my side here. I think I do go down... Do I go down a unit here, actually?
Yeah. Despite the disband, he went down too.
Yeah, because I lose ANVE and WNGH, right? What would you disband in this situation?
One of our fleets, like a SBP or something.
That would make sense. Wait, did I not? get a disband there? Huh. Oh, no, because I was playing one up, right? Playing one
right.
down
Yeah.
from the year before. So, it ends up working out. That's fine. The only unit that I lose is the one that gets force disbanded in WNGH. And here my friendship with Usneji finally pays off, because I managed to get them to nuke WNLP. I was thinking, like, what province should I ask them to nuke in the first place? And I think this was correct. I'm not 100% sure on this, right? But it feels like a province that Salt needs to go through, and that doesn't make him excessively more defensible, at least from the position that I can see right now. Maybe in the long run it's going to make it difficult to push into his centers back here. But it also makes it much more difficult for him to hold WNHL, I think, or to put any pressure on WNHP. Is that also what you would have asked to be nuked there?
That's what I would have asked him to nuke if I wanted peace between me and Salt.
What would you have asked if you want war? That's I
think WNHL.
I guess, yeah, knowing what we know about the fact that you can take that dot afterwards, yeah.
Oh, without reveal it. No, we can't do that.
Yes, that is
well,
also
actually, no,
thinking.
because he doesn't see the province. He doesn't know that it's a supply center.
I mean, he... Oh, as in, you mean Usneji wouldn't know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, so I would have a nuke and just not tell him what's up with it. Just be like, yeah, it's a province that I just don't want Salt to be going into. It's annoying for me, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That makes sense. I don't know. Like, I feel like Salt would obviously immediately know that I can take that province back if I ever do take it back, and that he can do exactly the same thing on this side. I feel like that stops me from ever being able to advance properly, because you can't ever force WNLP if this province is impassable, right?
I think we can walk into WNLP.
You don't think Salt would ever, like, just put a unit there?
I think this turn... I think I want to just delete a unit from Salt in the spring.
Oh, okay. So notably,
right,
Usneji didn't tell me that they were going to do this turn. I'd been talking to Usneji over and over again and going, hey, please nuke Salt for me. I think this is the province to do it in, right? And then this is the turn that Usneji decides to do it. I think at the time I thought that he was doing it once per phase, which is maybe why I was a bit more annoyed with that.
Sure.
Knowing that it's once per year, I can see why he was doing that. But I didn't know that there was a nuke coming in on this turn. It just kind of happened. So I wouldn't have been able to know, I need to move into WNLP on this turn because WNHL will be getting nuked or whatever.
Yeah, right. If we knew what he was using and we could use the power ourselves, it would be so much better. Right?
Yes.
But
Absolutely.
Hey, can't communicate perfectly, it's annoying.
Yeah. This is... So yes, I end up nuking this province, and then I go...
Are we stabbing them?
I am looking at the Snoo dots right now, right? Because, Snoo can't see this unit right here. He doesn't have navigation, so he doesn't even have sight on these. The ANVE is going to be retaken by Eshel on this coming turn. And they think that Anko is invincible. So I think Snoo doesn't think that I'm likely to stab up here. And, obviously the moves kind of make it a little obvious what I'm planning to do. But I was trying to play this off as, I'm just making sure that I have some kind of defensive line in ASFR as I move something forward. I don't know.
But this is the face who used his power to help us.
Well, Usneji used the power to help us, yes.
Yeah. Oh, well. I think this is insane and terrible. This is not the face to stab our allies.
Yeah, I mean, I need to get Eshel getting dots, though, as well, right?
But we don't. Not yet. No, we need dots ourselves. Then we can help our allies. Right now, these people are helping us, and maybe we can even get to the win where we have 6 dots. These people think that they have Anko guaranteed forever, they're just wrong.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to make them lax. And we already have 3 dots. If we stab them for ANSC and ANCO at some point in the future, that's already 5. We just need 1 more dot, and we get our win count.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's do that. These people are nuking Salt for us. We need to kill Salt. That is our priority. We can't sacrifice anything else until Salt is dead.
That is true. Notably, I don't think they would ever nuke Salt again. Usnechi was pretty clear to me that he felt that the number 1 person who was responsible for him still being alive was Snoo, was Pink, right? But that he was also grateful to me for helping out with that. So I felt like the 1 nuke was probably all I was going to get from him, especially given I was letting him, explore the world over here, right?
Maybe we could trade a nuke for a center in the future.
Yeah, it's possible. But also I was kind of like, this is probably all I'm gonna get. So I'm gonna get ready to kill him.
Oh, we also don't want Snoo as an enemy. They are terrifying.
This is true. But I was hoping that... So we see that Snoo's only 2 fleets in this area are AMV and ASFO. They're incredibly powerful fleets, of course. But if Snoo is facing a bit of a battering, then maybe they won't have enough units to come back from this.
You're insane.
You gotta take the chance at some point, right? You can't just go, this person will always be stronger than me, so I will never attack them.
Have patience. This is 04?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I don't know what year it is. It's probably
We've got
05.
time. Okay, 05. But, this game is not, I don't think, in any danger of ending anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
This is like an endgame play. Enko is never going to nuke us, or whatever, right? The demon horde is never going to get summoned on us, and maybe there's a turn where Snoo doesn't really need it. We're making an enemy again when we don't have any friends. Who is our friend, CaptainMeme?
Salt was. I mean, Eshel. Eshel is our friend. And they win with us, so they're, locked in friends forever. I think I only need 1 friend. Sorry?
Yeah, where are their units, CaptainMeme?
Here, somewhere, and here.
Mm-hmm. Will they help us get any dots?
That's a good question.
Are they a friend if they don't help us get dots?
Yes. Yes, they are, because we still
there's someone that we know. They're an acquaintance at best. Friends help friends get dots.
Alright, fine. Well, the way I'm playing this game at this point is I'm 100% all in with Eshel. We are gonna work together. I want to try and make sure that they, do relatively well here, and I want to try and get these dots out of it, for myself.
Well, here's hoping that works, CaptainMeme. Here's hoping that these 2 rogue fleets in ASFO and ANVE don't make our lives hellish as we try to hold on to these dots that are impossible to defend.
Yeah. We'll see.
Good luck.
So the other thing that's happening here, this is not the same yellow as this. This is a new player. So this is Flawla, who is L. She's one of the people who made Imperial Diplomacy. You may know her as. She is the player that Bosper was talking about, having run them out of the south, and is generally advancing up here and doing stuff. So I introduce myself. I say, hi, I'm fighting for my life on this continent, and I need to kill Salt. Can you please help me kill Salt, please? And she seems pretty receptive to that idea. Yeah, we can go forward and see how that works out. So you can see that Bosper still has some stuff down here, right? But at this point, I think the Bosper player subs out, and a new Bosper player comes in who was a lot more open about everything that was going on. So he was just like, look, I have nothing left in Warfaria now. The previous player did actually just take off everything here. I am only really existent in Icos, and actually I've been driven back in Icos by the ogres, or the goblins, or something. I can't remember what they were. They were some native race of Icos. So I've barely got anything here either. I'm sort of hanging on by a thread. So, yeah, that is the situation over there. You may notice here that there is a fleet in ANSC, which I was not expecting there to be, right? I don't remember whether that was like forced out of ANVE or whether that was moved somewhere or something, but yeah, that makes this whole stabbing thing a little more difficult because I obviously can't take ANCO and ANSC on the same turn here. That would be impossible with the units that I have. So I would have to choose one or the other, which makes it a pretty inefficient stab.
And ANSC can retreat into ASFR, right?
Yes, it can, so I would need to keep a unit there.
Why do we want to attack this person again?
So, really, I feel like this is the only shot. Because right now they only have those two fleets up here, right? They're getting knocked out of ANVE with one, and I felt like I have just about enough units to corral this and, take this dot off them right now, and hopefully it's enough that they just give up on this area, because they won't have any dots here at all, right? And they'll think that the only dot that they care about here is Anko, which is invincible, so...
Okay, yeah, we're hoping that the mermaids, whose power is all about the deep sea, just ignores the deep sea for the rest of the game.
Well, see, there's other areas of deep sea on the map. We saw one over here. They've also mentioned that there's some down here as well, right?
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
And something that they've mentioned as well is that they're currently engaged in a war with another player who's doing quite well down on this front. So I was kind of hoping that they would focus on that if they get knocked out of this area.
That's reasonable, right? They actually have another front. They have other units elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good hope, right? I do that in Imtip all the time. Mm-hmm. Hope that they go deal with other people instead of me.
Yes, and use charisma to try and make that happen.
Absolutely. Good luck.
I should really mention that earlier. I should say this game took about 3 months to play, and it's been another 3 months since it ended, so my recollections of this is not the strongest, which is why I'm sometimes, failing to mention stuff that I really should have mentioned, like that. But yeah, that is, that is what the situation is right now. If we move on to the next phase, you can see I go for ANSC, and they just issue a support hold for me. So clearly the charisma worked to some degree, right? And I believe that Eshel is taking ANVE back at the same time. So that's perfect. And I get into WNGH because of Flawler helping me out here, and I just walk into INGH at the same time. I can't remember whether I actually take this one, but I think I do. Yeah. Yes. So everything works out perfectly. I actually get WNHL as well. Except for ANSC, which they support hold from ASFO. And then go, what the hell? Why did you try and stab me there? Yeah, and then I'm left I thought it would work.
That's great.
Yeah, and then suddenly I have to face the mermaids again. But yeah, so thankfully we see Salt take off on this side, right? And I managed to get WNGH here. Which means I'm actually plus a fair bit, I think. INGH, WNGH, WNHL, all this time.
And because the demons now see our coast, they can't nuke it anymore.
Yes, that's so good. I mean, they can still nuke this upper side, except no one has seen that ever.
As far as we know.
Yes. Oh, I completely forgot to mention this at 2. I think it happened exactly a year ago from this point, but sometimes the GMs would make very slight errors on the maps that they post, right? Which is completely understandable for a thing like this. You're drawing the map for however many different players, and all the maps are different with what exactly the players see. It's a bit insane to keep track of everything. But there was one time where they made a pretty egregious mistake on my map, and they posted a map with just a random telescope looking at Anko. I was like, wait, what the hell is that? And then they went oops and deleted the map again and then posted one where it wasn't there. I was like, okay, right. Well, I guess someone has the ability to see far off provinces, right? So that also made me a little bit worried about things like WTRE and WTGR. Maybe people would be able to see them even without getting into WSMC. But I was hoping that whoever that was wouldn't tell Usneji, or Usneji would like me enough that they wouldn't go for it anyway. Because, of course, I have let Usneji get to this coast and explore the world as well. They really want to meet Salt at this point, so we're just, like, trying to arrange that. Despite also being at war with Salt. But yeah. So that's I guess.
Turn?
Yeah. Actually, fantastic turn. I mean, we can see on the builds here, I get 3 builds, right? I go with
That's
1
great.
army, 2 fleets.
Yeah.
Yeah, and suddenly, I mean, the tide changing on the Salt War is kind of insane. We were on the back foot before that nuke. The nuke has kind of turned the whole thing around, combined with Flawler coming in and helping me in here. One thing I am a bit worried about is I know that Flawler has completely decimated Bosper from this side. So I am a little concerned that they might be like strong enough that they're getting close to their win condition. So I really want to find out what Flawler's ability is. So I went to Usneji and I was like, hey, would you be willing to like get supported into WSAC or support me into WSAC or something? Just so that we can dislodge this unit and get that intel. And I believe Usneji just went, no, I like it. So I'm not going to do that for you. And I was like, okay, well, you know, that's actually really bad for me on 2 fronts, because on one front I can't make that happen, and on the second front, if they like L enough for that, would they like L enough to work against me as well, if it comes down to it? So yeah, I'm not necessarily treating that fleet as friendly anymore, which makes me think I probably do need to take Anko at some point here. But yeah, I think that's about everything. Is there any, like, I realise I've been monologuing for a very long time here, but it's kind of like, there's so much going on.
It's your thoughts,
on the map.
it's your game, things are starting to escalate out of hand.
Yeah, and it's tough to say, like, I would do this in this situation for you, right? Because so much in a game like this is... Oh, well, okay, you have said I would not do this, for example.
There have been a couple. I would certainly not have stabbed your allies like this.
Mm-hmm.
That I would not have done.
Yeah. But it's also just like there's so much unknown, and that you would only find out through the press about what's going on the rest of the board. That
yes.
It makes it very hard to analyze, right?
Yes. Right, and then those relationships are tough to navigate and manage. So, I don't know. I like the position that I feel we've improved a lot this year. Right, Things are going much better for us.
Yes, I mean on the dot count front, that's certainly true, and that's the main
but more than
count.
that, like we started making progress against Salt, and I think that's like the biggest deal. That now we're gonna force WNLL, right, and that's just huge.
Yes.
And we have this like extra fleet that's that fleet's hostile to us now, isn't it? The one in WSBE.
No. So I'm treating it as though it may be, but actually Usneji, they are working closely with Snoo. But they're not working so closely with Snoo that they'll declare war on me for declaring war on Snoo, if that makes any sense.
It really doesn't, but that's fine.
At the moment, Snoo is prioritized on nuking stuff down here, in any case.
Sure, because they're the ones who attacked them, yeah.
Yeah, so this isn't a massive deal for me, although the fleet might be a problem if they do decide to go in on me, which is what I'm more worried about here. Yeah, I also, I've promised Usneji that I will help them meet Salt, because their previous request was that they meet whoever was over here, right? And they have managed to meet someone over here, but they still want to meet Salt, who's in the opposite corner to them, basically.
Sure.
And if they meet Salt, I'm a little worried that at that point Salt could negotiate something with them to nuke me. So I would quite like them to die before that happens.
Yeah, no, that's not great, but I mean, it's not trivial that he meets Salt, right?
Yeah. I mean, so we can have a look at the moves here, which we don't actually see his move. I don't remember where that unit goes. I guess we'll see. But yeah, I think I get dislodged from ASFR on this turn. I'll just check. Right, yeah. So, he supports that move out of ANSC with ASFO. And it seems like that unit moves back again. Okay, I didn't remember that happening. But yeah, I've managed to get an okay line against Salt. It's not exactly where I would want it to be. I need this unit to be an army, and I need this army to go forward to here, but it is what it is. In fact, actually, I think I did move. No, I forced WNLL. Right. Yes. And I pushed Flawla into Ibno in return for the help against Salt up here.
What a great deal.
Yeah, it's pretty damn good for me, I think. I'm a little worried that it might be good for her as well, very good for her, because I still don't know her win condition, which is kind of worrying me.
That's fine, probably.
But yeah, I'm sure ignorance will be fine, right? There's no way that I accidentally make her win or anything like that.
Yeah.
There is one other thing that happened on this turn, which is a problem for me, which is I own this supply center down here, right? ISDI, and I have constant sight on that because it's my trading post. You will note that it now belongs to Green, who is Oglos, who I believe doesn't even open communication with me because they don't see my unit at this point. But I get a message from the mods saying, hey, it's the spring retreat phase, you gotta enter your retreat, but you're also down a supply center, so you have to disband a unit. I'm like, wait, what? It's spring! They're like, yep, well, we're telling you the truth, you need to disband a unit. I'm like, oh, jeez, alright. So, well, I guess I know what Oglos' ability is then, right?
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
They can take supply centers on the spring phase.
And force disbands. Do they also build immediately? That'd be so sweet.
I don't actually know. I don't think I ever found that out. I can go and look it up now in the post-game. Let me just quickly have a look. Right. Your SCs can be taken by foes in spring, and your units will also disband if 3 or more enemy units are next to them. The reverse is also true. So if 3 or more of your units are next to an enemy unit, that enemy unit will also disband.
What? What?
So, spoiler alert here, I never directly interact with Oglos all that much, so this ability isn't really going to come into play. But that's a really interesting one, right?
That's a cool one.
I'm curious how you would play with that, right? If you have... I mean, your main objective then becomes trying to surround enemy units with yours, but also not let your units get surrounded by the enemy ones.
Yeah, by only 3, right?
Hmm. But also, notably, your enemy won't know what that
Happens, yeah.
ability is unless they dislodge one of your units. So,
Yeah, it's absolutely imperative you never get dislodged.
mm,
And hopefully you don't let them see your unit blow up. And, like, it's just an immediate thing, right? Once they get 3 adjacent, it's just gone.
yep. I think it does actually happen to me in the very last phase of this game.
Good to
I
know.
end up with 3 Oglos units next to mine and it blows up. But it's not a very relevant one, it's just like a unit that's off exploring in the middle of nowhere. So, yes. This is, again, stuff that won't be relevant at all to me, but is a lot more visible, I think, in Eshel's video, is what happened to Oglos. And they didn't start with this ability. They start with the ability to burn home supply centers, which means they can, I think if they get a home supply center, they can stop it from being a home supply center ever again, or something like that. Which seems like the worst ability in the world to me. Hang
Yeah,
on.
whatever.
Let me go. Once per year, you can burn an SC. In your orders, write SC burn. If the unit is interrupted, it fails. If an SC is burned for 2 seasons in a row, it's destroyed. Okay. Right, so it's not a home SC, it's just any SC. And is permanently added to your SC total. Okay, that's the important part. So,
Ooh.
if
Wait,
you...
what? How long do they have to stay there?
So they have to successfully carry out the burn action for 2 turns without being tapped. So,
They're like coring.
yes, exactly. So it's
But instead
equivalent
of
to
coring,
inbox
it's a
coring.
perma SC.
Yes, and it takes the SC off the map, so no one else can get that dot ever
Yeah,
again.
and no one knows that you have it necessarily.
Yeah, that could be pretty huge, actually. That feels a lot better than I initially gave it credit for.
What?
So their win condition
Huh?
is that they have to burn at least 5 of these SCs, and then they have to do some other stuff as well. The problem is, there is a province in Icos called IDDC, and there's another player who has the ability, I think it's called like the Comedy of Ecos or something, the Divine Comedy, that's it. This trait will be given to the owner of IDDSC, and you will take all of their traits. Which
It's like,
means
what?
if you ever take the province IDDC, and remember you will not know this unless you've dislodged that person's unit, so you can accidentally get this ability, you swap abilities with the person who previously had IDDC. So they... this Oglos player was playing pretty well and completely ran over another player who was called Douglar, right? That player started the game with the Divine Comedy, the Douglar player. They owned IDDC at the start. Then Oglos took IDDC, not knowing that this would happen, swapped abilities with them, and then their ability became the auto-disband if 3 units are around them thing. But that meant they lost their burn ability, and their win condition was still to burn supply centers.
Oof.
So they just can't win. So they spent the entire rest of the game trying to convince other people to take IDDC off them and not managing. I think it was specifically they were trying to get Douglar to take IDDC back, because otherwise they would never get the burn ability back, right?
Yeah, that's
yeah.
brutal.
Yep. But yeah, there's some super interesting stuff down there, and none of it is relevant to me, so I recommend going and checking out Zach's commentary on that one. Yes, back to Tuthu, which is my power, which I realise I've never actually named, I think, during this whole thing. I retreat in here, and I think I disband something. I don't remember what I disbanded. Did I? I must have disbanded something. Oh, I've got these back to front. These 2 phases.
Sure.
But yeah, so Salt is running at this point back to his supply centers because he kind of has to, right?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and I
We
get a
have them
message.
on the run.
Absolutely. I mean, that's exactly what I needed to see, right? I'm a bit annoyed by Snoo being in here, but I can't do anything about that right now. I need to cover ANOP and ANPR and then get in there and have all of these centers covered at the same time, right? Which is not fun, but it is what it is. And then down here, I get a message from Boss Bear saying, hey, would you be willing to support me back into that supply center you just dislodged me from? I was like, ooh, I see an opportunity here. Yes, but only if you tell me Flawless' ability after you've done it. And they went, yeah, sure. So I do...
That's useful. You get the win con.
Yeah. I'm curious whether you would have gone for that as well, because obviously Flawla is the person working with me against Salt here.
Yeah, but it seems like Florla is also attacking Salt, so I don't think this will be enough to sabotage the relationship to death.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I see you take this as an opportunity to take the thing, finally.
Yes, so I go in for Anko on this turn as well. So... This was an amusing thing. Usneji goes, wait, what the hell, why do I not own a DOS anymore? Did you kill me in some way? And I was in this chat with Usneji and Snoo, right? And obviously I'm trying to play it off a little less bad than it actually was, just like having murdered them, because I didn't have access to Usneji's ability to know this stuff, right? And I'm still not wanting to give away that I know Eshel stuff. So I go ahead and say, you know, I went into Anko to disband this unit so that I could rebuild it at home and kill Salt with it, right?
Yeah.
And I accidentally took it. I didn't realize that was how it works. I'm so sorry.
Hell yeah. That's a great way to play it off.
But yeah, I'm not sure that playing it off actually did anything, because of course I'm kind of already at war with Snoo, and they're dead anyway, so...
Yeah.
But yeah. That does happen, and on this turn, Blue, so Bosfer manages to get into Ibno, and they do, as promised, share Flawless win condition with me, which I will have to go and look up, because I've forgotten it again. Here we go. So their ability is, upon meeting a power, you learn of their closest and furthest SC from yours that you don't know of, and every year you'll learn about one additional SC of theirs on the map. So their SCs will appear on the map. So they fill out the board, like, very, very quickly. And that was what that telescope was that I saw randomly on the map on Anko in a previous year. Their win condition: know a player on every continent, you yourself count, and own 14 SCs. I was like,
what the hell?
It's just like, hang on, that seems insanely easy compared to mine.
Okay.
And yeah, then I was going around and asking, like, hang on, have you met Flawla? Have you met Flawla? Have you met Flawla to everyone? And I realised, oh, hang on, they've already achieved the know a player on every continent thing. Because obviously they know me, and I'm on Aqualia, and it turns out, like, they've definitely met people on Icos. I mean, they're on Icos. And there's a couple more continents down here, and they themselves are on a bunch of those continents, and they've met themselves. So they've already achieved that. So that win condition is own 14 SCs, which is not difficult, especially considering how well they're doing here. So now I'm just like, oh, I think I need to switch into emergency mode, right?
Balance of power!
Yeah, but here it's necessary. I hope you agree that it's necessary.
No.
You wouldn't?
No.
Really?
No. I'm gonna conquer the W continent.
And, like, if Flawla wins, you just go, well, whatever, I tried my best.
Unfortunate. I don't think that there are 14 SCs yet.
Well, we know that they're not at 14 SCs yet, right? Otherwise they would have won.
Yeah.
But...
yeah, and, like, we just helped someone take a center off them. I see other people down there. I think they're in this big war in the south. I would ask to check and see how the war's going and stuff, but, like, nah. Like, once I take W and FO, right? Like, and then I can see stuff. If I see yellow in the east still, then maybe. But, like, I need to get 14 supply centers in this area, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I still need to do that. And I can't afford to spend my time, like... If I can find a way to take these centers off of yellow and salt at the same time, then sure. But I don't... I gotta kill salt first.
I mean, it's fully possible that you're right, and that I should be more focused on my own win condition and less focused on stopping other people getting to them.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, I just get the feeling that she is very close to 14 supply centers here. Because I know she's come up from the bottom of the map, right? And she's on Icos, and she's on... Well, she's not on Icos anymore on this section, but she's over here, and she's pushed all the way up here, right? That just feels really dangerous to let happen.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
We also gotta win.
Yeah, that's true. We'll move ahead here. No, Salt takes off WNLI, so now it looks like he's only got the one army here, but he's been saving up those governor's points. Good old friend Salt has. So if we get to the build phase, he just randomly builds 2 armies on non-home supply centers, like, on the front line. I'm just like, oh no.
Hell yeah.
God damn it. It's just, like, so difficult to make any progress at all. I've managed to get WNHL, and that's, like, it. In fact, I think I had that earlier, even.
Yeah, I mean, finishing Salt's gonna be tough.
Yep. Absolutely. And, which, I mean, you know that this down here is still W, so maybe I can get the dots I need off of Flawler instead.
Dude, that'd be great. Man, if only we still had that nuke person around, because if they could drop a nuke on WNFO right now, we'd be in business.
Which one is WNFO? Oh, this one. Yeah, that is a good point.
Wouldn't that be sweet?
It would be very nice.
Shame we ate them. And then we built a fleet in the south. We're not going to fight for ASFR or anything. We're just saying, we're going to go fight what's-his-face.
I've got units adjacent to ASFR to take, right? This fleet is because I disbanded a unit getting Anko, so it rebuilds over here. Right?
Yeah, but we also got Anko. Oh, and we lost, ISDI.
I lost ISDI. I should still have vision on that. I think it will reappear on the next turn. That's just a small...
Well, no, they took it in the spring with, like, the conquering person, right?
Yeah, but it's a trading post, so I have perma-vision on it.
Sure, yeah, okay.
But yeah, so... yes, see, it does reappear in the fall. But now he's going to go through to WSMC. Thankfully, the nuking guy is gone, so there's no trouble to him seeing these, except that he might walk into one of them, which would be a bit annoying. But yeah, I do manage to get this, and then I mobilize fully south to try and attack Flawler now. I don't know if it's correct, but I don't feel like I'm going to get many supply centers fighting this way, right? Especially on a turn where Salt has overbuilt. It's tough.
Yeah, but, like, just holding the line, right? Like, double supporting WNLL. I don't know. Whatever, man. It's fine.
Yeah, I probably should have pushed forward.
And now they're in WSMC. Ah, wonderful.
Yeah, that's not great. But hey, they're out of ASFR. So that's...
Yeah, who cares? But we didn't cover WSMC, so...
Yeah. But I get through into WSSR, I think, and into WSAC.
Yeah, we get to see more of the map.
Yep. And I discover a new continent.
Oh, sweet.
L continent. Which means I'm going to put down a trading post. Unfortunately, here I learned the exact rules of the trading post, which is that it must be in a sea province that is connected to that continent, which I guess I should have known from earlier when it got put down in ASFR when I was in WSMC, right?
Yeah, so this one's going to go in LSBS.
It will go here, which is not great for me.
I think we can hold that.
Yeah, but can I get into it in the first place is the question. I've only got one unit there.
Easy money.
But yeah, I tried to get this army into WNBY and got bounced out by assault unit. So he had even more behind the lines over there. I can't retreat it here because there was a bounce here, so I just, that's the same as disbanding it, sending it up that way. Which means I'm now back to not being anywhere on the salt line, basically. But I have WNGH surrounded and I have these units in position over here. And the only real annoyance is this in WSMC.
Yeah, that's not the end of the world.
Yep. You can see an Oglos unit getting disbanded by having 3 enemy units next to it over here.
Because it doesn't have to be the same power. Just 3 total hostile.
Three total hostile units. It's such a double-edged sword. Because, I'm not even aggressive towards Oglos here. I'm not involved in their war at all. But I happen to be a real nuisance to him just by standing next to his unit.
Very funny.
Yep. Alright, so we go into the next turn here. And I think I work out a deal with Snoo where I'm going to let their fleet just go around. No, that's not this turn. Sorry. Here I just figure, well, he's probably going to go into one of my dots and then I'll just try and kick him out afterwards. And he doesn't go into any of the dots. He goes into WSNC instead. Which is an interesting decision.
Sure, we take it. We're so happy.
100%. And I get WNGH here. I do go for my trading post. Because I kind of think that's the least likely thing to be defended. And then we'll see what succeeds there and what doesn't. Yeah, I get in, and I get in over here, which is really nice. Yeah. I find a Douglas province over here, which is the power that gave that ability that swapped abilities with Oglos. And I discover Kadaira, which is the last major power in the game that I hadn't really discovered. I'd heard a lot of talk about them, and this is the power that Snoo was fighting in the south all the way down here, right? And it turns out they've been in a game-long alliance with Flawler over here.
So it's their fault if Flawler wins, not you.
Well, you say that. They've been doing really well out of it too. They've been playing like a juggernaut from the bottom corner together, where one of them goes out this way and one of them goes out this way. And it's just worked out really well for both of them. Why he has a unit here, I don't know. I think I have a long chat with him about stuff. And he... Oh, I remember, yeah, because he basically pieced out Snoo because of Usneji's nuking ability. The nukes came in and completely ruined his advance on this front. And he was like, this is complete BS, I can't do anything about this. He has invincible supply centers, and he tried to get into one of those supply centers to test how it worked, but he did it on a spring phase, so it just disbanded his unit and didn't give him anything, right? And then he just gave up on that front and went the other way. But then we end up having a conversation here where I don't think I immediately revealed how the nuke supply centers work, but at some point he figured it out from what I was saying. So, yeah. Anyway, those two are still in an alliance, basically, at this point. So, yeah, we have fleet retreat here. I end up getting the 2 centers here. I get the center in ASFR as well. And I think I lose Anko to Eshil by agreement at this point, because I can't hold it anyway, right?
Sure.
But I don't think I lost anything else. Even INGH managed to keep hold of here. So, pretty happy with that. Yeah. Triple fleet build. No, double fleet build. Single army.
Progress.
Yeah. So, looking at this position, I'm curious how much you'd prioritize that fleet in WSNC, because obviously there is some capability to disband it if I focus absolutely everything on it, right?
I mean, my feeling is that they didn't take a thought last phase when they could have.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what's up with that, but it means that that fleet's maybe not going to do anything. I will probably follow it with the fleet, but I'm not going to commit too much to it. It's fine.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think for the vast majority of the phase, I had orders in to try and surround it and disband it. And I looked at it and I'm like, this is so inefficient. Because in order to disband it, I basically have to have this one cover WSMC, and this one cover ANOP, and then these three all attack WSNC, or at least stay covering these provinces, right? And then it retreats in here, and then I destroy that with this covering here. That just takes so many units, and it takes off the board a super valuable unit, right? It's a mermaid, it can jump over a ton of stuff, and if it gets back here, it's a huge nuisance. But he tells me that he's looking to go south, and he asked me if there's any deep water on that side, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's a deep water spot here. You'd be able to hop over it into Icos. And if he does that, I'm the happiest man in the world, right? Because he's out of my hair.
Great.
Yeah. There's nothing I value around this province apart from all of these ones. But I hope he doesn't go to those.
Yeah.
So yeah, I changed my orders at the end to basically let him through this province, I think. And we can see that going through. So I try and support myself forward here. I try and move forward against Salt. And then just sort of rotate units back so that he can't get back into this area. And so that we have that like covered if he doesn't do what he's agreed to, but he does, so it's kind of a waste. I am trusting Eshel a lot here, I should say, because obviously they have this area. I'm moving stuff out of here, so I'm not even going to be able to see two of my supply centers on this side. But we win together, so it should be fine.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I realise I've never directly mentioned this, but they have the exact reverse win condition to mine, right? Of they need to own 12 supply centers on their side and either own 6 in Warfaria or have me own 12. So them owning 6 feels like a bit of a stretch at this point.
Yeah.
So hopefully they'll be happy.
I will say, that's a huge advantage to us, right? To have this like built-in ally, kind of. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's incredible. And so the mod mentioned this to me, which I think contradicts what they said earlier about the players being randomly assigned. But they did approach you about playing this game as well, right?
Yes.
But you didn't have the time at the time.
I was not going to be able to make this happen, yeah? Oh, they were going to put us on these two?
They were going to put us on these two.
Yeah, completely random, yep.
Yeah, the reason that the win conditions don't get revealed until the end of the first year is that Eshel actually got a choice of their win condition. They could choose to either win with me, in which case that win condition opens up for me as well, right?
Okay.
Or they can choose to have an easier win condition that involves them attacking me, and they don't get that mutual working together thing. And
sure, that would have been funny.
Yeah, they went for the option of working with me. I'm curious whether you would have picked the same thing. I guess it depends on the exact win condition, right?
Yeah, and I wouldn't have known who it was, right? I just hey, I think I would have probably picked win with someone, because winning with someone else is usually much easier.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I probably would have done that, but also, I mean, whatever. Who knows?
Yeah. I'm just going... Here we go. So... Eshel win condition. Within 48 hours of this message being posted, you must choose either embrace our overlords, if we got lost so did they, or down with the colonists, they had 5 years to find us and they have sat around clearly not trying. Oh, so it didn't tell them what the exact win condition would have been. It just gave them the option of win with the other person or don't. In which case, I think you definitely go for the win with the other person, right? It's just like... It's much easier every time. You would think, anyway.
Yeah.
So I was hoping that Escher will continue working with me, and I think it makes sense for them to continue working with me here. So I'm just gonna leave these dots. I mean, I also don't want to make it look like I'm trying to get my own solo win condition of owning 6 in this area. Because then obviously they'll get spooked and start attacking me, I think. So I was like, you know, you can take these dots whenever you want, but please don't take them yet, because I need them in order to, like, have enough units over here. Alright.
Yeah, making sure that you're not, like, making it obvious you're not going for a solo is useful for keeping your allies happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe I should have kept 1 unit over here just so that I have some size on stuff. But it's whatever. And actually you can see that I decide that on this turn and send 1 back. But yeah, everything else is sort of hyper going south here. I believe I actually just agree to give the Kadira LSBS if they don't help Flawler keep WONA, which works out alright for me because I don't need to own anything on the L continent, right? I only want the W's, really. I mean, extra dots is nice, but yeah. And then down here, this was a bit of a lucky break. This unit has just been out here exploring, right? It's just doing whatever. I've slowly gone in here and it took this supply center, but then I've taken stuff.
Sure.
And here I have a 50-50, right? Well, it's not really a 50-50. There might be other units in here. But in this situation, I generally think I'll tap the unit that's already there, because I think most people tend to move their unit to the empty space. It's obviously not the case all of the time. Quite a lot of the time you lose that guess, but I think it's the higher percentage play. So I go to IDJU here, and they hold, so I don't get in. I could have gone to IDDC, and I could have taken IDDC. But if we remember earlier, if you take IDDC, you swap abilities with the person who's in IDDC.
You also swap win. You don't swap win conditions though, just abilities.
You don't swap win conditions. But
so what ability would you have gotten with IDDC here?
I would have got the ability that if I have 3 enemy units adjacent to my unit blows up. And if I have 3 friendly units adjacent to an enemy unit, that enemy unit blows up. Which I think would have just decimated everything on this front.
Yeah, and like there's a question of the order and stuff happening, right? Do you blow up their stuff first? Is it simultaneous? Like would WNLL blow up at the same time as WNLI?
I believe they happen simultaneously, yeah. So it would just decimate everything on the front line, and I think it would make this war impossible to win. Right? Because you need, with this many units around, you need overwhelming unit strength, and there's no way you can get that if every time you move into the frontline province, your unit blows up.
No, it just means you need to outflank, right? You need to convoy into WBKL.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's going to win you the war anyways, but if you can get a unit there, or just the fleet, actually, because the fleet counts, right?
So here, I think actually the fact that WSOR is being forced out here is going to be super important, because otherwise WSAC would have blown up, right? Oh no, WSAC would blow up anyway, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 units next to it. So I can't convoy to the... Yeah, it's like outflanking is so difficult.
Yeah, you would die.
Yep. I don't know that I die, because if they try and come in on me, they have the same thing happen to them, right? But there's no way I managed to win the war with that happening.
Yeah.
So I got a bit lucky not taking a supply center down here. Yeah. And then, yeah, I remember posting a message in the in my like void or whatever, the place where I can confessionalize, saying this has become like the multicultural area. There's so many people here.
Sure.
Eshel has arrived to back me up, and I think I supported their unit in here on that turn. And you know, Eshel is sending another unit over this side, which this one I'm a little more... I don't love that that's going past there, but it's whatever. It's supposed to be coming through here.
Here's hoping.
Yeah. And then I've just got this random fleet down here, and that is all my fronts, I think. Pretty much covered. So yeah, I get another supply center there. And then through to the next phase. This is... So, yeah, this is where a problem arises.
Why?
I'm... Like, this really irritated me, because I don't see a huge use to them for taking these dots, right? I think they go for ANSC at the same time. I need to check. Right, I think they have a unit here as well, so they're prepared to go in on basically everything that I have over here. And I can defend it, but, like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do everything that I need to do if I'm having to fight them at the same time, right?
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? This is really annoying. And they talk to me and go, you know, I was worried you were going for the individual win condition or whatever. I'm just like...
Yeah, sure. Sure. Because they could see that you had whatever. Anyways.
Yeah.
No,
so
they're just full of shit, but it's fine.
At this point in the game, the mods, it has been going for, like, almost... It's been going for a little over 3 months at this point. And the mods had, like, clearly gotten to the point where they don't think that anyone is going to win this game anytime soon. And so it's going to take months and months more. So they put the previous phase, the phase before this, they put the game up to a vote and said, hey... shall we continue or not? If we get like 80% yes to stopping the game, then we will stop it. And there were 3 votes against. There was Kadira, there was me, and there was Eshel. And then they put the vote back up again after this phase, and Kadira had changed their mind anyway. I don't remember why. It was something else that happened down here. But this just got me like, I don't. Like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to... Like, this... It's kind of dodgy whether I'd be able to get to that number of centers anyway. I think it would take a hugely long time in Warfaria. And with this happening as well, I really just don't think there's a way for me to do it. So I called the draw at this point too. And the only person who voted against was Eshel, who then got overruled by majority. So the game ends at this point. I think there's definitely more play in it, right? But it was a hell of a game, and it was a really interesting thing to play, regardless. And then they revealed the full map, so I will show that on the next one. Like, it's just a really cool thing to play and explore. I'm, yeah, curious as to your thoughts on the game as a whole here.
Super interesting. Just really, really cool. The war with Salt was so funny. Just absolutely hilarious.
Yeah. Like, poor Salt started in the corner, never got out of the corner, and in the entire game he met myself, Bosper, and Flawler, and that was it.
Yeah. How close was Florla to winning when you decided you needed to, like, do everything to stop them?
That's a really good question. I can have a look back through the overall...
Oh, and the mermaids died.
They didn't die. They're down here. Weirdly. So this was actually their
because they
starting...
can move so far.
Yeah, the starting area was here. It's one of the really funny things about this game was that the mermaids... You remember that they told me that they could teleport on the first turn? They were just telling lies to everyone about everything through the entire game, which was really... just really funny. So they told me that their supply centers, their home supply centers were here, right?
Sure.
They were telling other people that their home supply centers were up here or around here or like down here or whatever.
That's
they were
great.
just like... So people were drawing these like sketch maps. They weren't showing actual territories on them, but like roughly where people were. And this player would appear at a different point on every different player's map. It was hilarious.
That's great. I mean, that was smart. Like, it made us way more concerned about those centers. Your point about just take it and, like, start this war with them, it was much better, right? I was taking what they said at more face value because I didn't have much information to the contrary. And so, hell yeah.
Yeah.
You played that really well.
Okay, so I have looked back at how many supply centers L had at the point that I attacked them. The answer is 7. So they were quite a long way off winning at that point.
Sure.
But they sounded scary, so you know, maybe it was right in some sense.
I mean, okay. How many supply centers were in this W island that we needed to conquer? Or the W continent?
So, 1, 2, 3...
How much did we have to win by?
We had to win 12, right?
Yeah.
So I had... There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay. So actually, Salt had to take every single province in the W continent in order to win his objective. But I had to take all but 2, which... Man.
Yeah. So you needed to kill Salt, right? It was just that needed to happen no matter what.
Yeah.
And so it's like... Yeah, that's just so hard.
Yes. I believe, so down here there was originally a second player who I never met on this island who just got wiped out by the purples almost immediately. They were a centaur race, and then there was... These ones were human, these ones were human. Basically, everyone on this side of the map is human, and they're trying to colonize against the native species, is the whole backstory of this variant. And of course, Eshel is also human. So the humans kind of came out pretty on top in this. Apart from the green player, who I can't remember what their race was, taking over almost the entirety of Icos in the middle, while being completely unable to actually achieve their win condition because they took IDDC. But yeah, so... That has been Discovery of Icos. Any final thoughts you wanted to give, Ezio?
Really cool variant. Seems like an absolute pain in the ass for the GMs. Keeping track of all the powers, all the rate adjudication, fog of war map. Just a whole lot. And it seems like it was fun to have played, although I can't imagine what it would have been like to go through this. It just seems awful.
Yeah. As in for running it on their part. Yeah.
Running it or playing.
So like, the playing was actually a blast. I really enjoyed it, even though there were definitely points where I went, oh my god, I hate the fact that this player can do this, right? You know that the mermaids can jump from like here to here if they want to, and then so it's 2 moves from here to here, which is absolutely insane. But going into it thinking I'm here for the experience was definitely the right attitude to take, because it kept me upbeat through the entire thing, even at the points where it was like, I think I'm going to die fighting this player.
Yeah.
And the whole exploration thing was really damn cool to play. It was so different to any other type of diplomacy I've ever played. It was... Like, even other fog of War games, there's nothing quite the same as actually exploring an area that you know nothing about, right? It's just extremely cool. So yeah. Alright. There was one other Fog of War game that I played, but we'll cover that another time. That one will be a much shorter video because some of the win conditions were a little overtuned. We'll say, so we'll make it a mini one after this one, I think.
Nice.
But yeah. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.